Okay, can you guys, can you hear me now? Yeah, so now you can hear me. I do not know what is wrong with the speakers. I'm gonna have to call, I mean, as long as you can hear on this computer today, that's okay, but something's wrong with the speakers. I need to figure that out. Anyway, let's let everyone else. What's that? I know. All right, so let me see. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Rod. And is that Renee? Can you say who you're in the car and I don't see your name? Who are you?
Sorry, Diana, but I driving for Tijuana, and but
You can
I
listen.
want to hear you. Okay?
That's great. But what's your name?
My name is Rene Marin.
Rene Martin. Okay, there we go.
Marin.
Rene Marin. Okay. I'm putting your last name in because I need Marin de Long. Okay, and that's how you are in the roster. Okay, great. Hi, nice to meet you and thank you for joining us on your way to Tijuana. And
Okay.
Catherine?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have my new Mac Pro and my iPad.
Actually,
and
hold on 1 second, Catherine. It's about Macs and stuff. Let me first set up the class for a second. It's, you know, I thought it was about connections or something. So give me a sec.
Oh, it is about connection. No, it is about connection. I can't get cursor to move on my Mac Pro. Oh, now it is. It was moving on iPad from the trackpad on the Mac Pro. It was weird. It's moved. I'm good. I'll mute myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, when you have computers that are connected to the same Bluetooth, you can move the mouse. It's kind of interesting. You can move the mouse computer to the other, even if you have two computers and you have one mouse that's connected to both. So it's pretty interesting. The computers are really symbiotic now, and they are just letting you. I was surprised by that in Argentina, that I had the two computers and then I could, with the same mouse, manage both, and that I hadn't had before because it, you know. So anyway, pretty interesting. All right, so that's my mouse.
Okay. Writing utensil.
What's that? Get my mouse and
Yeah.
all right. And this one. All right. So I've had to adapt. So did anyone read the news or see or read anything about the new Mac Apple what was it? What's it called? Not a show.
Worldwide Developers Conference, WWDC.
I'm so glad you're there, Rod. You're always right on top of these kind of things for me. I know. If I have no idea what something stands for, Rod will always tell me. Yeah, the event that they kept saying, attend the event. Yeah. So the big unveiling. So anyway, it's interesting because I'm handling all kinds of connectors and you know, to connect the things that I need to connect. And we are going to have to not have these lightning cables anymore if you buy a new phone. That's one of the biggest differences. So that's actually good news. And a good example is in Argentina, everyone has Samsung's Androids over there. And everyone has the USB-C cable, which is different. Anyway, it's the one that goes into the computers. But our phones, the old ones have USB-C, so we always have to be all kind of connected. So we'll be able to connect directly.
So are you saying then that if you buy a new phone, your old chargers will not work? And if you have an old iPad, you'll have to have two different chargers.
Yes, as long as you continue having old handheld devices, you'll still have the ones that you have. And the new one, it will come with, but it'll come with one. It'll come with the phone. But if you want multiple, right, it comes with one. And if you want multiple, then you have to buy another one. But at some point, people will stop having their old ones, and everyone have. And in the end, the whole point is because everyone has the other kind of chargers except for iPhones. So the idea is to make people stop. I mean, I travel, I have a little baggie of cables with me. I'm one of those people. So ideally now we can just travel with the phone and one cable, and it should plug into everything and everyone. So hopefully, but yes, if you still have an old something, it'll have the old connections until they all die out, which I did tell you, my Mac things don't die out too much. I'm not saying they're perfect, but they don't tend to die out much. At some point, the technology just, they can't keep up with it. And so you kind of put it in a drawer, but not because it's died, right? So
You'll no longer need that adapter.
at some point, I won't need this adapter exactly. I'll have a cable that plugs directly into here. But this is because this is an old cable that I've had forever. The one cable that if I this is a 10. Had I bought already, I believe a 12, 13s and 14s already came, I believe, with the USB-Cs for the computer connection, although they still have the lightning code, but I have the old one. So even for my computer, I have to connect from the USB-C to, anyway, whatever. Everyone who owns a Mac should have quite a few little, they're either dongles, they're called, interesting name, or just adapters, right? From one type of thing to another, but yeah. I hate that whenever I travel, I have to take my baggie of cables. So that's the biggest difference. Beyond that, they come up with a few little changes in models and stuff. And of course, the iPhone 15 is titanium and stuff like that. But sometimes there's big changes in how they work, and nothing that I read seems to be that different. So that's good news. Oh, here I'm with my, what's that?
I think the price.
For the most part, prices remain the same. They've taken the smallest sized iPhone Pro Max off. So it would seem like it's $100 more. It's just that they don't have the smaller size, because people who buy the iPro Pro Max want the bigger size anyway. So but yeah, they were thinking they were going to come more expensive, but they didn't. So that's good news for people who want to keep moving up. They have not added price. So anyway, all right. So let's see. I'm trying to figure out let me just test again. I think this is the part that's wrong. This should be the screen that gets shared, and it's that one. Oh, here's Alan. Let me see. When I share, you guys are seeing this screen, and that's what they need to fix. Okay. So now I have to leave you guys here. Hi, Alan. Nice to see you. Nice to see you after the long summer. Okay, so I'm going to move. I used to have that one where I could have everyone and I could teach looking at you, but the way it's set up right now, that's the one that's sharing. And so I'm having to not look at you. And so I have to come and have them change it, which they did last time. But then I can talk to you this way, and instead of that way. But that's something I can't change right now. So until they change it, I will do that. All right. So I was thinking that I'd have quite a few people who missed class last time here, but other than Renee and Alan, but Alan knows these things. He's been here. So other than Renee, welcome Renee to our class. So there's not that much need to catch anyone up. Let me just clarify, Renee. I kind of got an idea yesterday of last week of what computer, 2 days ago. See how I go? Yesterday or last week? 2 days ago, I had an idea of what kind of computers people had, what kind of devices people had. Actually, I'm going to talk to you from this one. So what's your situation? Do you have a laptop, a desktop, an iPad, an iPhone? What's your?
Yes, I buy a new computer back. The next class, I go into presential in the next Thursday. I go with the room,
In person, okay.
yes, in person with my computer.
It's a laptop
Yes,
and it's pretty new.
yes,
That's probably Ventura. Okay, that's a good and I see you have an iPhone. So that you're
Yes.
connecting. And do you have an iPad or a smartwatch?
yes, I have.
Which
Yes.
smartwatch or iPad?
Yes, I have. But
iPad.
I have my iPad, an iPhone, and now I buy a computer.
Now you have the laptop. Okay, so good. Great. That gives me an idea. How many of you have a smartwatch? I see Barb here. Does anyone else have a smartwatch? Alan, don't you have one? No,
No,
no. So
my
you're
wife has one.
okay, Rod, so you know how they work or whatever, but yeah. Okay, so there's not much to say about them right now because you handle them through your phone, right? So you just put it on and then it's an app on your phone that you tell your watch what to do. So it's not like it's very different. As long as you can handle your phone, that sets up your watch. As far as settings and things that go, like what we've been talking about, as far as how you see it or use it, that's different. But when you set it up with your account and all that, it's the same. It's through your phone. Okay. What's that?
In your opinion? How essential?
Despite what I teach, I'm not a gadgety person. This is a Fitbit. It's not a smartwatch. And I just use it precisely because I want to figure out how much I sleep, in fact, and or walk. I need, people began having smartwatches and I didn't have one. So I borrowed one from my brother-in-law for a week to figure it out. And you have to charge it every day. And that's just not me. So as far as I'm concerned, no. I would never remember to charge it every day. But also because I wanted to check my sleep. So if you charge it during sleep, it wouldn't check my sleep. Anyway, I charge this one once a week. So as far as I'm concerned, do I need to be exercising and hear an email come in? No, I'm exercising. So don't talk to me. I'm the person who has an iPad and doesn't find a need for it either. But my sister-in-law lives on her iPad and it's the one thing she does. And a student who was in our house for the last 2 years, she did her entire schooling on her iPad. So it's different people's needs, right?
Can you get the 911 service on your watch if you fall?
No, but I can on my phone. But that's a good one. Yes. No, I'm not saying that there's no need. I mean, now it checks your heart. It checks your, I think the newest one can check your blood sugar.
Really?
I think the newest, does the new one check the blood sugar or was it's coming still or is it another brand? If you fall, it calls 911.
Yeah,
There's
that's
wonderful
amazing.
things it can do. I'm not saying that there's nothing to it, but my biggest drawback to me was that I had to plug it in every day. So that kind of told me like, oh, it's not going to happen because I plug in my phone at night. But if I plug in my watch at night, it wouldn't check my sleep. And that's really what I use this guy for. So, that's my 2 cents. But the good stuff is, yeah, it would be great if blood pressure, right? I think the latest one checks blood pressure. It would be great if my mom could just do like that and check her blood pressure, right? So in that sense, it's amazing. So there you go. Those are the things that I think are good about it. You can pick up phone calls. I was amazed. I was in the yard and the phone called and I was like, hello, and you can talk to the hand, literally. So it's really comfortable. Do you need it if you have an iPhone, a laptop, an iPad? I don't know, but it's certainly the only one that does all these health things. So for health stuff, for sports, for movements, for that kind of thing, it does track really well. So, that's my,
I like the looks of yours better though.
yeah,
Super ladylike.
it's a bit smaller.
Simple.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it as far as devices. How many of you have iPads now? I think over there it was only one of you had an iPad at home. Alan?
Yes, yes, I have.
Oh, now it's 2. Okay, so Renee, Catherine, and Alan. Okay, the 2 pieces. It was only Catherine last week, and now it's Renee and Alan who are here today. Last week, 3 of you guys, and then here I think 3 of you had an iPad, right? 1, 2, no. Oh, she didn't, but she works with it. with her clients, who's not here. Chris isn't here today. Okay. And Vince, do you have an iPad, I believe?
I do not have an iPad, I don't have a Mac, but it's important to know,
Okay, so just the iPhone.
just the iPhone.
Okay, all right.
I do have a watch, but I don't use it.
The smartwatch or, okay, and you don't find it's useful?
It's gonna take some time to get used to,
Okay.
when I have the time to. do this.
Well, actually, if you bring it here, you not only have a seatmate to help you, but also when I can show you how to use it with the app and stuff like that. And that way, even if you don't use it all the time, bring it to class so that you can kind of know how to set it up, right? Okay.
If your student have like an auxiliary keyboard,
She had an iPad Pro and she had a keyboard for it and she used it as a laptop, which it is not the same. I will show you the differences, but the latest ones, the iPad Pro that I'd say at this point, it's time with the pandemic has gone kind of woozy in my head, but I think for the last almost 3 years or 4, I don't remember for the pandemic, if it was there already or not, but the iPad Pro can access files from the cloud. You know, before the problem with the iPad is that you couldn't add files to it or take away files. It wasn't like an operating system where you can handle files, but now you can through the iCloud, which I am going to be teaching you all about. So, you know, so as long as you keep all your stuff in the iCloud, which surprisingly enough, you'll find that most of you are doing already, even if you don't know that, then yeah, she did her whole school, high school, which everything is online now on the iPad. So,
friends want me to do that.
yeah, so, you know, it wasn't so for all the years of the iPad. This is just the latest, the iPad Pro that allows you to do most of what you can do. It's not the same. You can't install certain program. Anyway, never mind. As we get into it, we'll decide the difference. It's not the same, but it is very, very, very similar in most aspects, depending on what you're wanting it for. And more so as the time goes by, more and more you can do on the iPad Pro, similar things that what you can do on a computer. All right. So we spent quite a bit of time last week talking about these kind of things, devices, and I keep telling you how they are all connected. So that's what we're going to start talking a little bit about today. In part because some of you are here with just one device and you're like, well, what do I care how they're connected? Well, even that one device that you have is connected to the iCloud, whichever device it might be, even if it's just an iPhone, just a computer, just a phone, or if you own 2 or 3 or, 25 Apple products. So if you have a family and everyone owns one, in a way, you have to handle that. Yes.
I have a question though. I know that the device you buy has storage on it or memory. I'm not sure what's the difference there. But then there's the iCloud. So is everything that is on your device, let's say you have 512, is that's all on the iCloud automatically without paying any extra money?
No, and that's precisely, we're going to spend a lot of time now explaining that whole thing.
It's confusing. to
Yes,
me
it is. And
as
it's,
to how much to buy and where's it at?
well, you are asking the right questions because that's exactly where I'm heading right now. Hold on. I need to put my 2-factor authentication here. 91831. Okay. And log in. Oh, I told it. 918. You guys aren't seeing it because I have it on the other screen. 918-361. And okay. So this is the part where everything I show, I'm gonna have to put it in here. Everything I show, I'm gonna have to this is the part where I need him to fix this because otherwise it's very hard to share with you guys. But anyway, what I just did is I'm going online because I'm going to go to our handouts, which let me see, Alan already knows how to do that, but Renee, you're new to this class. And so I showed this last class, but I will show, I'll explain it again. For anyone how to get to the handouts, you go to the SPCC. You don't have to open your handouts right now. It's something I'm going to show. But if you want to practice doing it while I'm here, you're welcome to do that. You go into sbcc.edu pipeline, you put in your pipeline information, and then you go to student resources. And then you go to Google Drive. Now I'm doing this rather fast. I will now show you. I will show you a page in my handout. So then we go to shared drives. And then here we go into Mac Intro Level 1. So I know I'm doing this really quickly because this wasn't really my intention to have you guys follow through. I'm just going to show something. And when I show it, it's not that you need to be there. But the main thing I did want to show you is that when you see things in this mode, meaning in files, this here is a Zoom class recording links intro to the Mac right here. That's the one that I told you I would have ready by today. If you see it in this mode where you click on this little guy right there, then it looks like this. And it's first you see the folder there, and then you see the file there. When you see it in icon mode, when you see it in list mode, there's the folder and there's the first file. Anyway, I'm going to open it up by double clicking on it. And this is the recording this is the recording of Tuesday's class. Okay. So one second. And then here I have a video of how to get here. But of course you can't get here if you don't know how to do this. So the next email that I'm sending out after today's class, I was waiting because I thought I'd have a lot of new people here that I'd have to explain this all again. So today I will send you all this video in an email so that when you want to look back at how to access handouts and how to do in this, you will just click from your email. Once you know how to do that, then you can just come into the handouts for everything that you need. Okay. But I'll send you this email today. And then there's this survey that I wanted you to fill. I'm stuck with the fact that you guys aren't on Zoom and thus you can't click on the same things. So actually you can if you go to the handouts. Okay, so I'm deciding this. You please do, everyone sign into the handouts. I'm trying to modify. Last time I had everyone here on Zoom because most people had the laptops, like Miguel. So then it was easy to them to watch the Zoom and then to do the laptop. But since most of you are not on your laptops, it gets really complicated when you have two screens. So can you go into sbcc.edu and then the pipelines. And then I'm going to put here in the chat this link. So in the chat, you guys who are in the chat, please click on the link that I just sent in the chat. And it'll take you to this survey. Okay, and then for those of you guys who are here, hello, there it is. It'll take you to this survey. So I need you to, oh, wait, it's taking you to the wrong one. It's taking you to the summer one. Well, if that's the one it's taking you to, that's fine. I'll see. It's okay. I don't want to reset the link right now. Actually, you know what? Since you haven't done it yet, I will reset the link. So don't go yet. Don't go yet. Don't go yet because it should be to this should be taking you to the, give me a second. I don't want you, because then I'll get confused with who's here in the summer and who's not.
It's two choices, yeah. And then,
Oh, it is the fall one. I just forgot.
Google.
It is the fall one. I just forgot to change this name. Okay.
now.
I thought I had done the link.
I've
Okay.
got it now.
Got it. All right. So that it was the right one. It was just me not having changed the name. Okay. So here's the link
Yes.
and it will take you to this one that now says fall. It was the fall one. I just forgot. Okay, so we'll click on this one right here.
Oh,
And the first one that says Zoom class recording links, on that, yeah, that one. Yeah, so to, go back to the pipeline. And then go to, and then Google that. Yeah, and then go to your. You know, it's a lot of. Just say, okay. Share that. Now that's the class survey. Everyone, okay, so let's go to student resources. I normally would have done this slowly with you guys, but since I wasn't thinking yet. I'm changing for year, yeah, for the last year and a half, I've had everyone here on Zoom, but it does come up.
Transfer photos. I want to have blank. Transfer photos.
This we don't need, so you can put on that X, so it doesn't take space on you. And then double click on that. Yeah. And that's the class survey. It's fine because you've never used this, I'm just saying. Click on that guy.
A blank drive.
You can close this.
PLUGG plugged.
Oh, that's it.
B for 5 o'clock.
So this is a survey, it's only for me, you got it?
Yeah.
Alright, so, I need you to click on this guy. Now on this guy.
Oh dear.
Everyone here is filling out the survey. How about people at home? Are you filling out the survey?
What survey?
And I know Renee that if you're driving, you probably can't, although maybe you're not driving right now. So I put a link in the, yeah, I put a link in I'll put it in here again in the chat. Click on the link that I just put in the chat and it'll take you to this Mac Apple Student Prior Experience Survey. And I am gonna stop my share because you don't need to be watching the same thing. And that's what I need you to fill out. Can you,
Diane, why does mine say when I open the survey, it says BA Walsh, blah, 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 not shared.
are you in the roster?
Yeah, I'm in the roster. I opened the email and
So not the email, you mean the link that I just put in the
right.
says not shared?
And next to my email address, it says switch account.
Can you
But
share,
that's my,
can you share your screen to see what's happening? It's possible that
Well-
this doesn't have to do anything. Anyone should be able to access this. It's not related to your account. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, it says switch account. No. Okay, I see what you're asking right now. Let me share this again. What you're asking is, you are there, you're here and it says DE Musakio switch account. That's what you mean?
yeah, the red underneath it. I can't see what yours says, but mine says
It should have your pipeline email address.
it does.
Yeah, and it should say switch account in case you want to answer from a different email, but no, go ahead and answer from there. And then just start writing. What's your name? Barbara Walsh. what
Oh,
class-
okay.
That's all. Yeah. When you're in anything that has to do with Google, it assumes you have other accounts. And so it says, do you want to answer from another account? But no, I'm happy for you to answer from your pipeline account, which is where you're accessing it from right now. So this should only take
What class am I in?
please, yeah, only Chris.
Internet. Um, to
What's that? Intro to the Mac?
This is it. I think it's Monterey.
If you are here in this class and you don't have your own, then say Monterey. But you might also want to put under other school computer or something like that, now that I think about it. Because then I'll know,
You don't want your proof. So, what's that?
um,
And you said,
Yeah, later it'll ask if you have an iPad, that kind of thing. This is just if you have a laptop or a desktop. And if you don't have one, then you can say other, you can say don't have one. You know. So under what operating system for your laptop or your desktop, you could say I don't own one. That will remind me then that you're people who doesn't own one.
On the applications. Apps. Where do you want it specifically for?
Good question. The way I have it written out.
Okay, good, got it.
On your map, and then when you go down, what do you?
What is it?
iPhone or iPad.
Um,
You can just say we don't have a map.
Yeah.
You go down here.
Okay.
Okay. So there's one question that says, what do you use on your Mac, on your laptop or your desktop? And if you don't have one, just put on the other right, I don't have one. And then if you go down, it says, well, what do you do on your iPad or your iPhone? And so then on that one, you can answer what you use on your iPad or your iPhone. I don't have questions about smartwatch, so it's just to give me an idea. So if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. But if you don't have one, just say I don't have one. That helps me. It's interesting because in each class that I teach, there's a different variety, and I'm finding that this is the first time that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who don't actually have a laptop or a desktop who are here. Usually it's 1 or 2. So it helps me think about that when I amend the survey. Next time I'd be more specific, like, well, another box for I don't have one, which right now.
Yeah.
for that.
On the survey where it asks, what non-Apple apps do you have downloaded to your phone?
I like
But I
you-
don't see where we add those in here. Where do you want those? Is there a place to type it in the survey?
What applications do you use on a regular basis on your iPhone or iPad, you mean?
Yeah, where do you want us to list that? You
An
go,
Please describe below. So under other,
oh, on other gives me a place. Okay, great. Didn't know how to prompt that. Thank you.
you're welcome. Actually, I do have I don't have either one under iPhone, but I don't have either one on. Okay. I don't have either one on the computer. So I should add that, which now you guys are doing it. So but I will add I will add to the. I will add to this question. I will add.
I can't. I
So
don't.
I've just added the I don't have. Either a Mac laptop nor a desktop. So that's a new. It's okay if you've already passed that and you don't have that question, but you guys make me think. Well, it does. Which Apple devices do you own?
Oh, turn the sound off, Barbara.
There you go. I've added for the next time people take this survey, I've added all of the, I don't have one, I don't have one, I don't have one, instead of having to write it as other, I've left it as a choice, but there we go. But you guys already opened it, so you want to see that. There you go. Every time I teach it, I find something new that I need to amend. I've had this survey running for years now, and there's always something that someone says they like. I added the smartwatch when those came around. Oh, there comes Mary. Oh, well, we are in class today. One sec, Vince. Hi, Mary. Mary, can you hear me? Mary, if you've just joined us, if you can unmute yourself so that I can hear. There we go. You've unmuted yourself. Can you say something? Can I hear you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just having a hard time to connecting. It's just horrible. I'm just like so bad.
That's okay.
Thank
If you need help connecting, I can give you a hand. Did you have trouble when you clicked on the link to come in?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Oh, to register, I thought that I wasn't registered on the main pipeline. I spent like half an hour. I was trying to get in, and finally I saw your email. I sent you an email to send me the Zoom link, and then I
sent
saw.
it, yes, I sent it to you last night, and then I sent it to you this morning again.
Yeah, I was looking earlier and I didn't see it, and then I said, "Oh, wait a minute, it's her here." And there's a link, and I was trying to log in, and I have a hard time too, but finally get in. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm glad to know that it worked out and that you're here. All right, so there's I know that you just got here. I just put something in the chat. If you know how to get, I just sent something that you can see appeared, which is like a link. If you can click on that and go to the survey while people are finishing it up, if you can answer that survey, that would be great. Yes, Catherine?
How detailed do you want this? I have lots of apps on my phone, like Merriam-Webster, Growth Day, MyFitnessPal. Do you want us to get into the dirt of that? Or
Just the ones that you use a lot, things that you really do use. I mean, yes, if you use the web dictionary all the time, if you're a writer, maybe, but if you just happen to have it, and I have a ton of apps that I have in there, but I use only occasionally. Just things that you're comfortable using all the time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Can I ask everyone who's finished with the survey, please give me a little yes if you're down in class. And this is the part where I miss having the survey, the Zoom, because then here people have to raise their hands. But if you're done with the survey, give me a yes. Mary, what I mean by that, and I know you're not done with the survey, is that everyone who's on Zoom, when I want to see the progress, because I can see here in person who's finished, but online, I'm going to ask you to either go to the reactions button. I don't know if you can see a little smiley face there on the toolbar of Zoom. It says reactions. The same place where you unmute yourself. If you keep going to the right, you should see a chat. And then
the chat now, I'm in the chat area, which is the survey. So I'm in the survey area. Where do you want me to go now?
If you keep going to the right, share screen, and then if you keep going to the right, you should see a little smiley face that's called reactions. Do you see that one?
No. So shall I close the
No, keep going with the survey. That's okay. Next time when you're done with the survey, I'll go ahead and show you about the reactions.
Thank you.
Don't worry. Renee, were you able to fill it out on the iPhone or not? The survey?
Excuse me?
Were you able to fill out the survey on the iPhone or not?
iPhone.
Were you able to click on the link to get to the survey? Para la encuesta?
I don't know.
Okay, so I'll send the link to the survey on the email that I'll send you after class 2, so that those of you who didn't finish the survey, you can do it after class. Okay, I'm going to move forward with it now.
But you last course to submit.
At the bottom, yeah. Let's go ahead and say submit when you're done with all of the answers, and that's good. All right. So that's just to give me an idea. It doesn't need to be perfect, but I have an idea of the levels, the needs, the possible requests that you have. if you want, there's something specific you want to learn. Some of you are just like, I need to learn everything. And some of you are like, I really want to learn. I really need to know this one thing. And then I'll tell you, well, I won't teach that until Mac level 2, or I'll teach that in Mac level 1, you know? So I need to have an idea of what it is that you're here for and what you want to learn. Okay, so I'm going to,
Sometimes we don't even know what we want to learn.
yeah. I mean, a lot of the times that's how it is, right? You can't know what you don't know. But some people come here saying, I want to learn how to use my yada, yada. And then I can tell them, oh yeah, I'll teach that, but not until a certain class, or oh, sure, I'll teach that in 2 weeks, you know, or, you know, I'm not going to teach that. Okay. All right. Okay. So that helps me. I'm going to bring down the front light here so that you guys can see the screen a bit better, because I'm going to start having you guys follow. That's.
Yeah.
You still hear-
Yeah, no, I'm completely understanding.
Is that too dark? You guys see, usually I have that and then I have this a bit open. Let me add a bit of light from here. Because otherwise the light on the screen makes the screen a bit. Today's not the best day to get some light from outside. Good. But that tends to work if I have a bit of each one of these windows open. If you have trouble seeing your keyboard or something, let me know. That usually works, but it's a cloudy day. Can you still see in here? Well enough?
Diane,
Notes and things? Okay. Yes, Rod?
when you walk away from where, right now, your
I know.
audio is perfect.
See this thing? It's a microphone they gave me. I have to figure it out. It's got like 8,500 parts and I have to read the instructions. They gave it to me last night. I was teaching at campus and at 7 p.m. They gave it to me. So yes, I will have a microphone with me by next Tuesday, maybe during break today. I can figure it out. So you will be able to hear me no matter what I do. Okay.
Very
Sorry
cool.
about that. It's just like,
Ask one of your kids.
I know. I know.
Five-year-old grandchild.
I can teach you anything about Macs or computers, but microphones and headphones and cables, I need to like start from zero.
I
Anyway.
call my my grandson in Tennessee and ask him stuff all the time.
I know. Yolanda isn't here right now, but she has her computer set up so that her son handles it all the way from Washington.
Oh, wonderful.
for her. So yeah, you know. Yeah. And you know, just like I can handle your computers, if you guys are on Zoom and there's something that's not working, I can have you guys give me permission and I go in and I do stuff for people when they're on Zoom.
Yeah, I love that. I used to have that so all the time because I cannot maneuver. Like now I finished the survey and then I click and it gave me Zoom support. So I don't know what, and launch meeting. So what shall I do there to get into the main?
You know what? That's probably when you finished it. That's probably the original screen you had when you launched the meeting. You can close that screen. You don't need that anymore.
How can I close it? That's the problem.
Well, then hang on, because yes, last week I showed people how to close tabs. You have a tab open. So last
Oh.
class, just leave it open for now. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
What we're going to start doing now, handling your computer. Okay. So by the time you continue with this class, you will know what to do.
Thank you.
I only take over when there's like a real problem, like something that has to be fixed that isn't explainable. Other than that, how to do things, you got to do them yourselves. Because when I'm not around, the whole point of this is to learn. I'm not tech support. I'm teaching you how to be self-sufficient. I
But-
can't be tech support. Some people think I am. And I'm like, no, I'm teaching you to do it. I'm showing you how to do it. Okay. All right. So the whole point I had originally come to my handouts when I finally decided to have you all come is to talk to you about the iCloud. And there are, I need to see this in this mode because then I can see that. Maybe they don't like that I need to be showing you this one, but anyway, this is automatically point covering. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. Is this the one? I'll make that. I'm trying to see how much of my screen back here. I'm gonna try to make it really small. You can all see about this much of my screen. Those of you who are at home, I used to always write in that one, but then this is the one that people are seeing. Let me move this over a little bit more. Okay. So, so everyone here has either an iPhone, and I'm gonna say that this is an iPhone, or an iPad, which can be any shape and position, but I'm gonna call this an iPad. Or they have a laptop. Or they have a desktop. Okay. Or, and I'm gonna just do a little watch here. That's new in my eye. So these are the devices that we've been talking about. Can you guys, is this still in the picture? Yeah, that's the picture that you guys are seeing. Okay. So these are the devices that people have. Another thing that you guys all own, which you might know or not know that you own, is an iCloud account. It's an Apple ID, which is the same exact thing. So I'm going to put in here that you have either something called an Apple ID, which is equal to an iCloud account. Okay. So whenever you hear either of these two words, they are identical. And who owns this? For sure, anyone who owns an Apple device of any type and kind. So even if all you have is an iPhone, or what you have is a laptop or a smartwatch or whatever, the moment you buy it from the store, if they did it for you, they created it for you. Or if you did it yourself, you created it for yourself. You might not know. But that said, the fact that you have one up and running means you have that. Now, I'll show you now how to find that account. But you could be someone who owns no device, none, no iPhone, no iPad, no anything, and have created an account yourself for some other reason. For example, I created one for my mother so I can send her something anyway. So it's possible. It's free. It's just having kind of a membership, if you want, into Apple, and it's free. And when you own an Apple ID, you have space. I believe it's 5 gigabytes. Can you guys see the 5? Yeah, you see that. I'm trying to see how far I can go with my things. You have 5 gigabytes of space on something called the cloud, or in your iCloud account. This is free. Okay, so that's free. Getting this account, it's free. Let's all find our account. Since y'all have phones, maybe the easiest way is to tell you to get it on your phone. You don't have an iPhone, so you can do it on the settings on your computer, Miguel. Okay, so I'm going to share my phone and show everyone what their Apple account or Apple ID is. So go to your phone and open up the settings. Remember that I pointed to the settings last class. And if you don't know how to get to the settings, then you can do a search right here and write the word, click on and start writing the word settings. And, immediately at the very top, what will appear is this little gears icon. And these are your settings. Mary,
yeah,
I
am an iPad. I have not iPad. I mean Mac. I'm Mac, and I opened the phone too, just in case, so I would know.
iPhone, iPad, and Mac. Okay, good. I wanted to remember what you had. Okay, because this is the same on an iPad or an iPhone, or for those of you who have Ventura operating system, you can go to the settings as well, and it all looks exactly the same. And then up here at the top, right under the word settings, you should see your name. See, this phone belongs to school, so it's called SBCC Business Services, but if it were mine, it would say Diana Musacchio. It probably says your name, right? Mary, Carol, Marshall, yeah? That, click on that, your name.
Uh-huh.
And then right under your name, you have an email address there, whichever that is your Apple ID. So this that you see under your name is your Apple ID.
Got you.
Okay. So has everyone found their Apple ID?
Yes.
Now that's what I need. What's that? Say that again. Yeah. So let me open up. I'm trying to see that. Okay, so I'm going to back up and back out again. And basically, if you are on your phone, the first thing you need to find is your settings. And we're going to be using the settings a lot. So if you don't have an easy access to your settings, I can help you put it here on the main page, on like the home page, so to say, of your phone or your iPad so that you can access it. Did you find your settings, Carol? Okay, so then at the very top of your settings, you should see your name, right? Click on your name. And then right there, you should see your name again. Mine says SBCC Business Services, but right underneath it, there's an email address. That email address is your Apple ID, okay? That's it. That's your Apple ID. What does the Apple ID mean? You'd go, oh, it's just my email. Well, yes and no. Because what happens in the past, people would put in whatever name they wanted. Remember when people could write, oh, my name is, banana plant. You could do that. But then people kept forgetting their Apple IDs. So for many years now, people, when they go to the store to buy a device or whatever, the person who set up says, what's your email? And people tell them their email. So they bring that in as their Apple ID because people don't forget their email addresses, right? That's kind of like you learn that. So the only problem with this is that your email, if you set up your Apple ID 10 years ago, maybe you're not using that email address anymore. So for some of you guys, that email that you see there is an old one that you don't use anymore, especially people who have things like Cox or, AOLs or things like that. That's still your Apple ID. It's equivalent to having been called banana plant. It's just letters that you won't forget. Does that make sense? So even if you're not using that email anymore, this isn't necessarily linked to that email. For some people it is, for some people it's not. It's just a name. That's your Apple ID that people won't forget. Yes.
Like a username.
It's like a username that happens to be the email you had at the moment that someone set up your Apple ID.
Can you change it?
No. Yes and no. If you change it, you're creating a new one. You can, but you lose everything else, right? Not that you lose it, but you can only access one at a time from your devices. Now, I want to say this with a little caveat because they thought maybe they would put it in the phone i15, but it didn't show up, but it might be coming for iPhone 16. There are some phones now, and there are some Androids that do this, that you can put two different accounts because most people who have a work phone and a personal phone and carry around two phones, the idea is that at some point you would be able to switch on the same phone. You can switch and say, I'm working with my, only my work stuff, or switch back to the other one. It's not possible yet. So there is a possibility of having a separate one, but you can't use them simultaneously. You can't have both. Does that make sense, you guys? It's a great question. So for the most part, no, you have one Apple ID and it's your Apple ID for everything.
I don't think I'd ever want 2 lines on my iPhone.
Yeah. But the thing is, between that and having to carry 2 phones around, for people who are really handy with their phones and can really manage it handily, it might be a solution. This is a school computer that I have here, and I have 2 accounts on it. I have the one that I teach with, the one you're seeing, and I have the one that I work with. So I can handle a laptop with 2 accounts. I can handle a laptop with 3 accounts. And if you ever have someone at home and you have 2 or 3 people using the same computer, you might want to divide it into accounts. We're going to talk about that. It has to do with, it's not like just the thing I'm saying, because the whole point is that if you have a husband and a wife that have different email addresses and they use one computer and they have different interests and different whatnots, you don't have to be using the same computer. You could have it under 2 accounts, mainly because you all probably have 2 different iPhones, right? If you have 2 different phones, that means you do have 2 different Apple IDs. So any one of you guys who at home has a husband or a wife who has their iPhone, but does not have their own computer, right, is in this situation where when you have your computer, you decide which Apple ID do you use, the husband's or the wife's, right? And that becomes a problem because all the stuff on the computer, you'll see in a minute, is related to your Apple ID. So if that's your situation, there's a smaller class, so maybe not. There's usually 1 or 2 people who have that situation. Let me know. I will show you how to handle your computer to be able to have both the Apple ID of either person. Does that make sense? But for now, let's assume that we're just all one. You own your own phone, you own your own computer, you own your own iPad. Let's say that that's the situation, which it is for 90% of the people. So then that's this Apple ID that we just discovered, right, has to be set up on each one of these devices, always the same one. You wouldn't want one Apple ID on the phone and one on your computer and one on your iPad, because then these would not connect. It's as if they belong to 3 different people. If you want them to, pick up and write down someone's phone number on your phone and then go home and have it on your iPad or on your computer, the same Apple ID has to be connected on each one of your devices, okay? So now open your other devices, go to the settings and confirm. And again, there's usually 1 person and out of 30 that says, oh no, I have a different Apple ID. I thought I had to create a new one. That's a typical problem. And then they go, but I don't know how come my photos that I take on my phone don't come to my computer, because the system thinks you're 2 different people. So go ahead and check the same exact way. Your iPad is exactly the same way as what I just did. Now I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to show you how to do this on a Mac Ventura.
Yes, I already signed for Mac Ventura.
Mac Ventura. Then when you open your system settings, there it is up on top on a Ventura Mac. There's your name. And the only difference with Ventura and the phone is that what's here, instead of switching to this screen, you see it right next to it. And here it is. So that's my Apple ID right there. Okay. And that should be the same Apple ID that you just saw on your phone. Do this also for your iPad. Now, I see your hand there, Catherine. Give me a second while I show this for people who do not have Ventura, who have a system older than Ventura. So now I'm going to share the screen. And for people who have a system older than Ventura, instead of system settings, it's system preferences. And when you open the system preferences, right up here, it says sign into your Apple ID, right? And so in here, you shouldn't see sign into your Apple ID. You should see over here the Apple ID button. And when you click on that, then you should be seeing your Apple ID. I can't set up my Apple ID on this computer, and I'll explain why a little bit later, so I don't have it. But any one of you at home has your Apple ID here. Okay, and if you have your Apple ID here, there's a button right here that lets you into your Apple ID. Now, if you have an even older, not Monterey, but if you have anything older than Catalina, then what you have is a little cloud icon right here, it looks like a cloud, and it says iCloud. And remember that I just said iCloud account is the same as Apple ID. But in the past, they called it more of an Apple iCloud. So then you have a little cloud. And this is for people who have something older than Catalina. When you click on that little cloud icon that should be around here, then it again takes you to that same screen that shows you your Apple ID. Okay. So here I'm trying to explain all the different versions of whoever is here. I'll check on your I'll check on the surveys to see. There's usually someone who still has systems older than Monterey, but I'm not sure. I think, Carol, did you check your home?
Yes, Big Sur.
You have Big Sur. So Big Sur is like this. No, yeah, that's as far as it'll go. Is that what you mean? Update or change what?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Update, and it goes through the whole system and then doesn't do anything it says. But I'll talk to you later.
Okay, all right. But Big Sur still looks like this. All right, so yes, now that I've shared all of that, oh, here's my stop share. Catherine, you've had a question for a bit?
Yes, I am that one out of the 30. So I bought a desktop and I left that. I have everything, all my other devices are Gmail. I have a 2 terabyte cloud and I was able, and so I bought a new desktop and I didn't want to pull in all, because knew I was going to get a laptop anyway. I didn't want to pull in all those files onto the desktop. So I left that ID as an iCloud, but I was able to call them and combine the iCloud computer storage and the Gmail storage, the Cox and the Gmail storage, or the iCloud storage, into one hub. They put those two together. They said they did.
Well, I'm gonna have to look at your setup. Because what you can't, when you were talking is storage, which is different. For storage, you can share storage. Like I have one storage for all my family members, but I haven't talked yet about storage here with everyone. So give me a second. But I do have, I pay for one big storage and all different family members with all different IDs can use it. And that's probably what they set up for you. But that's not the same as having the same material on each computer. So let me explain a little bit more and then we'll get to your case.
Right.
And
It's been a nightmare. I wish I never would have done that. It has just been a complete nightmare. I have to airdrop from one platform into the desktop. It's just been a nightmare.
But the thing is, maybe at this point, we can, by the time you're done with all of this, it's going to take a few days, it'll take like 3 or 4 times of going through this, plus file management to really be able to understand how.
Yippee. I'm down. Thank you.
One account, cancel the other one, and then share. So as we go through it, you'll begin to see those possibilities, okay? Yeah, so yes, if you do have 2 Apple IDs, it's a mess, exactly what Catherine's saying. So try not to. Those of you who are still thinking of buying, when you buy a product, use the same Apple ID for everything. Why? Well, what is this Apple iCloud account? Well, there's this place in the world. Does that look like a cloud?
Mm-hmm. It does.
That's the cloud. It's not really finite, so it has no end. It's like, up into the skies, because in reality, it's not in the skies. And what the cloud is, notice I'm not saying the iCloud, you guys, I'm saying the cloud. What the cloud is, all computers network together. And when I say network, some people are like, what's a network? Well, if your computer at home is connected to the internet with a cable, and these computers are connected to the internet, and Marshall's phone is connected through Wi-Fi, and Mary's iPad is connected. All of these guys are connected somehow to a system that provides you the internet. Those are connected to others' computers. Those are connected to other computers. So it's like bazillions of computers connected together. That's what networking means. That's really the cloud. It's that kind of space where we're all connected, right? So it's an amorphous thing that you can't put a finger on, and it's belongs to no one. The cloud is the same as saying it's on the internet. It's on the cloud. It's up there somehow, somewhere. To say the truth, it resides somewhere in the end, because that page that you see that tells you Santa Barbara's weather, you just go onto the internet and pick it up from the internet. But in reality, someone in some computer in some place in this world is making that little icon for the weather that's rainy or cloudy and is putting it in there. You know what I mean? So at some point, it is a person putting it up on the net, designing that. I design websites, I design a little icon, but once you put that up on a server, a computer that serves it to the internet, then anyone can access it. So it belongs somewhere. Someone designed it. And then they put it on a server, a computer. It's another computer that doesn't have a monitor, that all it does is connect that to the internet so that anyone from home can say www.weather.com. Ooh, today it's going to rain. I didn't believe it was going to rain. I did not check, but it did rain. And I'm pretty sure I left one of my suitcases outside of my house because I didn't have time to unpack it yet. I hope nothing gets too soaked in it. I know. I was like telling my son, Joaquin, bring in all the suitcases, and Barone, he's 16. So he brought most of them in, but we left one out. Anyway, I didn't check weather.com. Had I would have checked, or my phone. I could have checked my phone. My phone would have told me a weather that somewhere, someplace input that. Okay. It's just that I get it through the cloud, through the internet. That's the cloud. It's a completely amorphous, non-space belonging. And yeah.
Well, I understand that, somebody dreamt up the weather and somebody maps and on down the line, bits and pieces, and it all went up to the cloud.
Yeah.
But somebody had to invent or make the cloud, right?
Well, I am not,
I've often thought
what's that?
about that.
Yeah,
When-
Rod, you have this
And-
kind of data. Alan, maybe, when was it? And was it the 70s even, or the 70 somethings, when the first person who invented
Yeah, sometime back in the
Internet.
70s. And
sometime
there
in
was two different engineers that
Yeah.
were for the military or something, and trying to get them to talk to one another.
somebody figured out how to get two computers to communicate. The rest is history, because if you can get two, you can get bazillions, right? So I don't know how it works. I'm not a scientist, but in some way or another, and at this point, it's through satellites and through cables under the ocean, and it's through all these different ways that systems are communicated. So I'm not about to explain that.
So no one person could shut the cloud down.
Al Gore. You remember that?
So much of it depends on satellites. That say that Elon suddenly decides to, take down all the satellites, we'd be bigly hampered, immensely affected. If someone blows up one of the cables underwater, which there's been terrorist attacks, then continents would be disconnected. So yeah, it's a possibility, but it would have to attack many different places at the same time. But yeah, there's no question that there's a possibility that the internet could break down at some point. Some people talk about some solar flares that could affect the system. So anyway, beyond the scope of Intro to the Mac, what is within the scope of Intro to the Mac is the fact that although this is owned by no one, there are little private clubs, so to say, within the iCloud that do belong to people. There's one that's owned by Google. How do you get into that private club? You own a Google Gmail. There's one owned by Apple. How do you get into that one? You need to have an Apple ID. There's one owned by Microsoft, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So to belong to these private parts, you need to have a membership. An Apple ID is your membership into the Apple iCloud, which is just a brand name. Google calls it Google Drive. Remember where I put all of your handouts is in the Google Drive. Microsoft calls it, please help me, no,
Edge,
what's that?
Edge,
Oh my God, I always draw a blank.
Dropbox.
No, Dropbox.
Fire.
Dropbox has its own, or just another personal private company. Oh my God.
it'll come to you, just relax.
Give me a second, because I have Excel open here, and I could head over to one. OneNote, I'm trying to blank. I'm trying to blank, never mind, it has its own that when you hear it, you'll go, okay, it's one of those obvious. And OneDrive, thank you. OneDrive, so as you can see, these are just brand names, like, that's all it is. What's that?
Amazon Web Services.
Amazon has its own services, Dropbox here is the one someone mentioned, et cetera, et cetera. So, but for some of these are free, some you have to pay, okay? Now, they're all kind of free until you put too much stuff in them. So you can get your Apple ID for free and you get 5 gigabytes for free. I think Google gives you 15 gigabytes for free. I'm not sure how many you get here, but you'll get something for free just by having an account made, by owning a Gmail address that you made one day. You have a drive where you could put 15 gigabytes of stuff. Yes, Lynn?
Google Drive is not the same as OneDrive.
Google Drive and OneDrive? No, Google Drive belongs to Google, OneDrive belongs to Microsoft.
How about com? Com. Belong to Google.
Chrome?
Chrome.
Chrome belongs to Google, but it's not a space on the internet. Chrome is a browser, like, and I'm gonna write it here, a browser. And you guys don't see it in the back there, but this allows us to access the internet, like web pages, let's say. Okay, and then there's Chrome, belongs to Google. Apple has Safari. Microsoft has Edge. Okay, these Mozilla has Firefox, and I'm just writing these without being very clear. These are the names that these companies own for access to the internet. But these same companies own space in the cloud, and that's what I'm naming right now. So it's two different things. One thing is an app that allows you to see the internet. The other one is space to store things. So it's storage. Again, maybe it's 20, I'm inventing this one, but just to have an idea. Now for Dropbox, I think they give you for free 2 gigabytes.
Amazon.
I don't know how much Amazon gives you for free. So anyway, for free. So these are all free. Free space to put your stuff, free storage. So this, the Google Drive, iCloud, OneDrive, Amazon, I don't know what the services that they do, Dropbox, those are all companies. They have created spaces that are available for you to put your stuff in. For free, you get that much. The moment you have more stuff than that, you have to start paying. Okay, so how do you access this space? Through your Apple ID and your password. Okay, so now we're going to take it from this like theoretical thing to the very practical. Let's start with phones, because most of you have iPhones. And if you have a different brand, you probably have space in the Google Drive or some other, if it's a Google phone or Android or when you put something in your phone, say that you enter a phone number in a contact book. You enter the phone number of your best friend. It lives in your phone. But you might not know, it also lives in the cloud. Most people have never changed their settings on their phone. If you haven't changed your settings on your phone, the way it comes is that all the information that you put in your phone gets kind of replicated in the cloud. Has anyone ever lost their phone, broken their phone, changed their phone, and you go to the store, they give you a new phone, And next thing you know, all your stuff is on it again.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Why? Because it wasn't on your phone, it was really in the cloud. Is that, unless you've never changed your phone, you don't know that. But the first time you do it, you go, excuse me, how's it all in here again? Right? And it's because everything that's on your phone has been saved in those 5 free gigabytes in the cloud. And that's already something that, unless you tell it not to, and those are the settings that you can say, no, don't put my things on the cloud, but you would have to change that. The default settings, the ones that the phone comes with, say, these things go on the cloud. And thus, when you drop, lose, change, upgrade phones, all that needs to happen is the person in the counter will say, what's your Apple ID? Or what's your email? Some people go, I don't know my Apple ID. Well, what's your email? And they give it to them, and that happens to be their Apple ID. They'll set that up. So all you need to know is your Apple ID and your password. Because if not, anyone can go into anyone's stuff. Like if I know your email, do I know your Apple ID? Maybe, but you're not going to tell me your password, so I can't get in there. So your password is your security. It's the key to your house. I know your address, but I can't get in there without the keys. I know you know what I'm trying to say. So the password is the key to your stuff that's on the cloud, which is the stuff that's on your phone. Does that make sense? Any questions about that portion?
Yeah, but sometimes when I get a new phone to update, some of the stuff is not updated. They tell me that because it's in the phone. I didn't know how to set that. I didn't set it, but I have to back it manually, you know?
Yeah, so that's the point. If you have some things that are not part of the iCloud and it hasn't been backed up, then it just lives on your phone only. And when we get into the apps, you'll see this thing that says on your phone. Anything that says it's just on your phone specifically.
Oh.
If you lose your phone, it's gone with the phone. Ideally, everything that's on your phone is in the cloud as well, because phones are easy to lose, right? And then you don't lose stuff. But if you're upgrading on your own, you can still save that stuff and move it. What if it had cracked and died, fallen into the ocean or something like that? There's no way to save the stuff that lived only on your phone and nowhere else, right? So the saving grace for most of your stuff is that it goes to the cloud, to the iCloud, to your little personal bit. So as much as the iCloud is for everyone, your little tiny bit of the iCloud right there is what holds your stuff. It's only entered by you and all your devices that have the same Apple ID using a password. Not everything that's on your phone goes in there. So you need to make sure that if you do want to go in there, and that's the kind of settings that I'll be showing you.
Good. Thank you.
Then you can make certain choices, because certain choices are made for you and others are not. And if you say no, so many times 5 gigabytes is not enough when you start taking photos and pictures. 5 gigabytes is not enough. And that's when you have to start paying for more space. But if you say, no, I don't want my photos to go up to the cloud, you can still keep your 5 gigabytes for free, but then your photos live in your phone. And then if you lose your phone, you lose your photos. Does that make sense? So they kind of have you there where if you take the pictures, you can take quite a few thousand before you run out of space. You can take one video and run out of space immediately. And then your phone starts telling you you're running out of space. You need to purchase more. And that's when you have to start purchasing more. And I'm talking about the phone right now, but I want to clarify. That's because most people can understand how easy it is to lose a phone, and thus you don't want to lose the stuff in it. But this exact same thing happens to your iPads and your computers.
So do they give you the same?
Hold on. I know there's a hand there, and I want to honor that there's been a hand here for a bit longer. And this is why, since you guys can't see, so there you go. Maybe you can see the people. So give me a second, because Barb has a hand up, but yes, Jackie?
So the password, is that the same password for your phone, your computer, your iPad, the Apple password that you see on your phone?
Yes and no. the Apple ID has one password and only one password, and you can use that on your phone and your phone. But there's other passwords that your phones and your computers have that are separate from this one. This is the password to the Apple ID. The Apple ID is an access to that space on the cloud, which stores your stuff independent of your devices. Okay. So if a mudslide takes my house, I've lost my computer, my phone, any other backup or anything I might have had, my iPads, my everything. Guess what? As long as I had the cloud enabled for all my devices, then I can just, yes, takes money, but buy another computer, buy a laptop, buy another phone, put in my iCloud, my Apple ID, and know my password, and boom, not only my phone, but my computer also gets filled up with all my stuff. Does that make sense? Most people understand that on a phone, but guess what? That's exactly the same for your computer. If anyone's bought a computer lately and they happen to have a computer before that was already connected to the cloud, and you turned it on and you discovered all your stuff on it, it's the same thing as your phone. Now, that doesn't tend to happen as much because most people who first buy a computer, they've never had one. And if they've had an old computer, they might have not had it connected to the cloud. So we're going to talk about how, when or not to connect your computer to the cloud, how to do it, why to do it. But the main why is because if your computer dies, gets lost, gets stolen, you don't lose all your stuff as long as it's in the cloud.
So you're basically saying that if you have Apple, for instance, you have one username or ID, and you have one password for your iPad, your laptop, your watch, your whatever.
No, you have one password for your cloud, and all those devices are connected to the one Apple ID. But there's other passwords you need on your phones, on your Apples, so that's not. But the Apple ID is one and only.
For all of your devices.
And thus, if you really, the Apple ID is the stuff that's in the cloud. And then if you buy a phone, it says, what's your Apple ID? You give it to them and immediately it's connected. How about your iPad? What's your Apple ID? Is you put in it and immediately it's connected. So it's not like the phone talks to the iPad. They talk to the cloud. But if you put a phone number in here and you pick up your iPad, it's already in there. Why? Because it went up to the cloud and down.
So if the cloud gives you 5 gigabytes and you have one device, you have a lot of space in the cloud. But if you have 4 devices, then do they use the same 5 gigabytes?
Yes, we're going to talk a little bit.
No,
you have this space is one space only. And we're going to talk a little bit more about storage and space, but no, each one of these has however much local storage they might have, but the stuff, they all share the same cloud space. And I'm going to talk about that because there's certain things on each one of these devices. There's much more stuff that can fit in a desktop than can fit maybe in an iPad or an iPhone. And so there's only certain things that go up, not everything. And so we're going to talk about that. Only the iCloud devices. So to be continued after break, because it's just past 10:30 and I want to be able to give a break. Unless it's a question that's specifically about what we just said. I see a hand there and a hand here. So I'll answer those, but if it's not specifically to what we just said, to clarify something we just said, then we'll continue after break. So yes, Marshall?
Microsoft PC, but I've never connected to the cloud. But what I do, and I have to take responsibility for it, is I back up on a thumb drive. So I guess, could I draw the analogy to that? If you have your Mac desktop, you got it connected to the cloud. You don't have to rely upon a backup system.
Yes and no. Hold on. Let me just tell you what Marshall is saying. He's saying that on his PC, he doesn't own a Mac. He backs up to a thumb drive. Yes, we'll talk about backups. In fact, Mac level 1 is all about file management, and I teach you how to do backups and all of that kind of stuff. So there's a thing called the physical backup that he's talking about. And on the Mac, we have an awesome process for physical backups called the
time
Time machine.
of all things, and we'll explain why. As opposed to the cloud. And let me just say, they are not the same thing. They both have a slightly different function. Both are necessary. And the only advantage that the cloud would have is that if a mudslide comes through, it also takes your thumb drive, right? But, you know, we're talking extreme circumstances here. So we're going to compare and choose, but there's not really about a compare and choose. It's both. And people who've been in my classes before end up knowing that. It's both because there's different things that one type of backup targets than another. The iCloud is not a backup. That you're talking about is a backup. The iCloud is not a backup. One more thing, and then I'll take Mary's question, then we'll go. Everything that lives in the cloud is only there one time. A backup is having your things twice somewhere else in case you lose one. Okay. But the iCloud is not that. If you delete a file on your phone, it deletes from the cloud, it deletes from the iPad, it deletes from your computer. It's not, there's one on your phone, there's one on the cloud, there's one on your phone. It is one system where if you delete something, it's gone everywhere. If you change the phone number because you moved and I met you on the street and you go, oh, I just, you know, have a new address. I pick up my phone, I enter your new address. Your old address is not yours anymore. I delete it. That old address has been deleted from all my devices and my new one has been entered. So it's really there once. It happens to be spread broadcast to all your devices, but it's there one time. Does that make sense, you guys? Imagine a TV. There's one TV station broadcasting news to everyone, but it's not like each one of your computers owns that news, right? If you turn it off, the news is still there somewhere else. So that's the cloud. It's one thing. So if you suddenly lose everything, if you just delete everything, I'm tired of all these friends. I hate them all. I'll delete all these phone numbers. You lost them from everywhere. If you have a physical backup, which is what he's talking about time on backups, guess what? The physical backup might have not lost them because it's not connected. It is a second copy of it. That is a backup. The iCloud is not a backup. Okay. Anyway, as long as that's clear, Mary, your question, and then we're going to take our break.
Yeah, if there is an easy way to find the password for my iCloud account.
Yes and no. No, and then
I
no.
have issues. Yeah, I have issues with remembering passwords. So that's the thing. I have tons of them. So
Here's in this handout, the good old handouts. Let me share the handouts page.
Oh, you have a handout?
I have a hand about what to do if you don't know your password. It's easier to look at it by names. So you might have missed the part of how to access the handouts.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Yeah, how to look up your username, how to find your, no, that's for login. iCloud.
How to access class material. That's a good one too.
Yes, but how to change or reset the password of a macOS user account. So here you have that, but that's not the one. That's how to change it, but that's not the one of how to
find it.
No, this is the pipeline. Anyway, it's one of, I'll open it up, but look in there. It's one of these that tells you what to do.
How can I get access to those?
I'll explain that later because I've told everyone a few times. If you can stay a little bit later, I'll show it just to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or as I said, I'll send an email right after class, which has a video that is me showing how to get access to all this stuff. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, let's I don't want to tax everyone's patience. Let's do a break. It's 15 minutes. I want you guys to notice that there's something that you might not know how to do, which is to use Siri. If you use Siri, and if you've never used it, if you have a phone, a computer, you might not have it enabled, but whenever it's break time, I tell my phone to set the timer for 15 minutes. In fact, I set it for 13 to give me time to come back and be ready in 15. So let me just show you how I do it, and then you guys can do it or not. So I'm going to say, hey, Siri, set timer for 13 minutes. And there it is. So there's a timer starting. Siri has some advantages, some not. That is the best use of Siri. So it's 10:43. So be back by someone, please figure out what's 15 minutes from 10:43.
Hey Siri.
Oh, it's actually 10:44. So that really means 11. So
So do you have to
10:59.
you have to open Siri's app to tell her or what? What did you do? Make phone?
I'll teach you how to use Siri later. It's just for people who already know how to use it and never thought of using it this way. Your phone has to be enabled for it. If your phone isn't enabled for it, you can yell at it all you want and it won't work. So you need to, we're going to show you the setting. I'm going to be showing you settings of everything. One of the settings is how do you enable Siri to listen to your voice and do this that I just did.
Perfect. Thank you.
So that was just a little demo of the good thing about Siri. There's other things that are like, oh my God, but that one's awesome. Okay. See you guys in 15. I'm going to try to figure this out during my break. So let me read instructions. Let's see.
In order to this and then you can stick it.
Okay, I seem to have lost the pair of glasses. This one. All right. Hmm. Yeah. Entonces, este es el installation only, te va a salir de réplica eso, porque eso ya está para allá, sí. Entonces, este ya lo puedes tirar, hacer right click and trash. Este es el instalador. Ujú. Y listo, ya lo vas a empezar. Lo que pasa es que le estoy usando el cancel, pues cuando estás abriendo lo vamos a cerrar. A nosotros nos instalaron el desktop, que es una cosa muy PC. Abrí acá para confirmar. Abrí acá. Y en las applications, todo esto lo vamos a ver en Mac Level 1. Vamos a hacer Chrome acá. Claro, eso es lo que pasa, está instalado en el desktop, que no es el lugar correcto en la Mac. Es, en la PC se usa eso. Tirarlo para acá, a ver. Pueden tirar este, a ver, separado, a ver si lo pueden tirar un right click. Let's see force eject. Force eject. Ahora agarra este, double click. Y ahora agarra esto y mover ahí. Eso es cuando hablan de applications. Bien, ahora puedes copiando la applications. Ahora si vas a applications, puedes tener acá, tengo la mano, y lo tenés. No problema. Te lo voy a enseñar la próxima clase. De nuevo, bueno, para que quede. Ya, y ahora lo tenés. Este es el correcto. Mira, ahí lo tenés funcionando. Y está en el lugar correcto, que es el applications folder. ¿Viste? Es la imagen que decía, con esto acá. Es simplemente eso, agarrar ese icono y bajarlo a ese folder, que en el fondo lo podría llevar al folder, pero ese proceso lo pone en applications y luego ya te permite abrir el installer y después tiras el installer. Yo siempre digo, es como que compras una banana, te comes la banana y tiras la acá, ¿no?
Okay. can see that. Okay, edit.
¿Puede entregar todo eso en clase? A ver, porque eso es lo que yo soy. Illustrator and design.
¿También es presencial o solamente online?
Es solamente on Zoom. Ya la voy a empezar de vuelta en el mes que el spring la voy a empezar de vuelta en online. Esto es todo lo que estoy enseñando. En Illustrator, Photoshop tengo dos versiones. La que empieza mañana es 42385. Y es de 9 a 12:45. Y después va a empezar en noviembre, 1 de la noche, martes y miércoles de 5, 8 y pico. Pero bueno, esa
En la noche.
sí te
Ok.
conviene.
Esta
Puedes
clase
tomar.
sería,
Mucha gente viene, pasa de este y después va a tomar esa.
serían 6 semanas.
Son, sí, 6 semanas.
Y la otra serían 2 días.
Serían
Ok.
2 veces por semana, 3 semanas, de 5 de la tarde a casi 9 de la noche, 8:25.
6 semanas. Tengo que ir a México a finales de octubre, entonces me alcanza bastante bien porque puedo estar aquí.
Ujú. Bárbara.
Muchas gracias.
De nada. Entonces esa es 442.
Esa sería la siguiente, pero no, yo me quedo con la de mañana.
Con la primera. Perfecto.
Sí, espacios probablemente sí, ¿no?
Sí, 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 tengo 18 personas, puedo tener hasta 25, sí, perfecto.
Muchísimas gracias.
De nada. Okay, where's everyone?
You, okay, then you take a break. I have a question.
I'm telling everyone.
My iPad is really old, and so a lot of application is in update anymore. My iPhone keep updating something. I find something really weird. 2 days ago, I got on the app that I supposed to update. Today, this is not first one. Today, I look at my iPhone, I find need to update. Show me.
Okay.
This one you did 2 days ago, this one you did 3 days ago, this one you did last week.
It seems I didn't do it.
Seems to me, here's the thing, when you go over the, these are the different things. Okay, so then if you go to your account and it says what to update.
Yeah,
say
it tells me update.
Right?
I usually don't, I only update whatever I want to use, and the rest of them.
Makes no sense, truly, as I said, but yeah, sometimes it matters. But if you just try the one, go ahead and update that one.
And you will,
And then let's see, and we are connected, you know, you have to be on Wi-Fi, well, I guess you use data, it's okay.
I'm using data.
And you know what, if you want to, where's your, here, to connect to Wi-Fi here, just put your username here. Put your username, type in username and password, and you can use our Wi-Fi.
Is that the truth? Is that why it's not used?
Yes.
Jesus.
So put in your pipeline username and password, and then you can use our Wi-Fi. All right, guys, I'm back. good and bad news about this thing is that the first thing I need to do is I need to charge 2 parts of it. And so I only have one charging cable of that kind, so I'm charging one at a time. So that's so much for that. Yeah. So,
Technology, wonderful.
technology, but you know what? It'll be good once I get it all. So I'm charging the receiver and the transmitter. Anyway, great. So, oh, let me put this out of the way because now it's in the middle of my. Okay, who used Siri to remember to come back? All right, Lynn did and Jackie did. Cool. Yeah, it's, oh, and so did Catherine. I had, a student staying at home who was cooking a lot, and instead of setting up timers in the kitchen, she would just yell at her phone. And I'm like, oh my God, that's the best idea ever. So now that's one of the that's one of the things I picked up. She would do everything. You'd say, I don't know, Siri, look up this, look up that. She used Siri for everything, but I totally picked up on the timer. It's the best. Okay. So, all right. So we've been talking about the cloud. It's interesting because a lot of people need to know how to use their Macs, right? And so they come to this class, know how to use their Macs. And then you find me talking about the cloud. It's just that it's impossible to use any Mac device now without knowing about the cloud, because that's truly what connects everything and where things are and where things need to be. And if you start from scratch, understanding that and setting up the settings correctly, then everything else we do flows from there. Otherwise, people start doing things like putting different accounts and different devices, and it becomes a bit of a mess. Okay, so yeah, this is the slightly theoretical part, if you want, of the class. And let me show you that I have this, basically the icon, the stuff that I just drew over here. These little drawings that I've been doing on the board for those of you who are at home. Here is that, okay? This is, this
Right.
is,
Is there a way, are you setting it up? No, oh, I've got that one. What you drew on the whiteboard?
hold on. So this is on your handouts, okay? So it's not exactly the same, but it's the idea. Where iPhones, this is a little bit busier, but this is the point I want to make. Everything goes to the cloud. It's not like, okay, it's not that the phone connects to the laptop or the desktop to the iPad. It's just that everything connects through the cloud. And if your iPhone says, send my contacts that I just wrote into the cloud has it. If your iPad says, send it to the cloud, then, and the iPhone and the laptop and the desktop all say that, then you put info on one and it appears on the others. But if one of these says, nope, I don't want to send my stuff up and down to the cloud, then that stuff remains only on the laptop. So then if you update a phone number here, the cloud updates it, but it doesn't go to the laptop because you said, nope, I don't want these to connect. And so you have a different phone number here than you have here. Does that make sense? So it's that kind of situation. If you take a photo in here and it goes to the cloud, and then you say, no, I don't want that to go to the laptop, then your laptop doesn't receive the phone. But if you go around with your phone and take a picture and you go home and you see it in your laptop, it's because you have it connected to the cloud, et cetera, right?
It's all based on settings that you choose.
It's all based on settings that you choose. There are some that are default, like the contacts and stuff like it's default set on, and you can turn it off if you want. The only one that's not by default set on, or it wasn't by default set on, but now it is. I believe when you buy a new device, the default is on, is the photos and videos. And why does that matter is because photos and videos take up a bunch of space. And so if you take a lot of photos and your phone, you can take like 1 second of video can be up to 70 photos worth, right? So if you do 10 seconds, suddenly you're doing 700 photos worth. So one video that you set for a minute is like, boom, you know, your computer, your phone gets filled up. So video takes up ridiculous amounts of space. So you can have thousands of photos up here before your 5 gigabytes get full. But if you're someone who shoots a lot of video with your phone, very quickly, you run out of space. So it's a decision you need to make if you want to pay more in order to store more. And if you do that, then you can connect even your Photos app. And I believe the last time showed me something they just purchased that by default, the photos do go automatically to the cloud. Before you had to turn that on. You just bought your computer, right? Can I go check and see? Give me a second. I'm gonna go check because Miguel just bought his computer. And you haven't changed any of the default settings? I believe when you buy it now, the default settings are to have it turned on. But I just wanna make sure because I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna take everything here in a minute. Let's see, Photos is on. Yeah, sync to this map. So his Photos app, his Photos are on. So I think that, I believe that's the default. Now, he doesn't have an iPhone, so in his case, it won't mean much. But if, you know, meaning any photo that he has on his Mac will go to the cloud, but he doesn't have the counterpart of the phone sending stuff to the cloud. You can, in an Android device, send your stuff to the cloud. You have to download the cloud on your Android device and stuff, but it isn't automatic. Versus on an iPhone, automatically, if you take a picture and it goes to the cloud, it also goes to your computer. So there's no need to download, upload anything because there it is. But very soon, if you're someone who takes a lot of photos, it'll say, oh, I ran out of size. Please pay for more. And so then you start paying $1 a month, $1.99 a month. No, 99 cents a month.
Diane, is what you're saying when I take a picture with my phone, it goes up to my iCloud?
Uh-huh. As long as that we're going to explore those settings. I'm going to show you now exactly where those settings are, and then we'll find out and we'll discover that maybe half of you have it on and half of you don't. We'll find out about it right now.
But somebody sends a photo or video on your message, your text message, will that photo go in?
Yes and no. You can, it does go into your phone, but it doesn't go into your photo roll, so to say, unless you save it to that. So you have to do one more thing. In the way it is in the iCloud, in a way, because as long as you have your text set up to go to the cloud, it is. On my computer, I send texts much easier because I can write them. And then they appear on my phone. And when I'm out and about, I'll answer on my phone. But if at home, I prefer to answer on my computer. It's the same text because they're going through the cloud. So if you have it set up to go through the cloud, then yeah, you can answer your text from any of your devices. Can you answer? You can't answer on can you dictate into your smartwatch to send a text?
I don't know. I don't know how
I don't
to use it 100%.
Yeah.
I just know how to use a few things.
Yeah, I think you might be able to dictate into your phone to respond to a text. I'm not 100%, and to your watch. I'm not 100% sure. But let me, hold on. I know that there's a lot of questions about photos and videos and stuff like that. I know that. I have a class that's all about that. And I spend the entire amount of time, the same 25 hours I spend with everything else, just on photos and videos and the whole iCloud system. I taught it in the summer and in the spring. It's not been scheduled for the fall. And I'm maxed out in all the hours I can teach, so I doubt we'll get it in. I'm asking to see if we can somehow curmudgeon it in. Otherwise, in the spring, for sure, it's already scheduled. So I will answer about photos and videos only to a point because it deserves its own class. I'm answering now in the sense that it's just data that goes up and down as much as if it's a phone number or it's a photo or stuff like that. But specifics of photos, And videos, leave it for that class. And it's a weird name in case anyone ever comes around to it. It's called Living the iLife. Again, one of
Oh.
those to change. That's the photos class. Okay. Barb,
Okay, but on this cloud, whether it's a document, whether it's a picture, whatever,
mhm.
if you get it on your iPhone, it goes up to the cloud. And let's just say it's a picture and then you get it.
Remember
on
to speak
your-
out loud so people at home can hear you as much as you can. Yes, so yeah,
You get it, you get that same picture,
mhm.
say a week later. But you've already got it up in the cloud.
What do you mean you get the same picture?
Well,
Can you
let's
start
say
again?
you
Maybe I
send
wasn't
me a
paying it.
picture.
If I send you, oh, you're talking about sending, not you
Send me a
taking.
picture.
Yeah,
And I save it to my iCloud.
yeah,
Or to my photos.
Yeah.
Which goes up to the iCloud.
mm-hmm,
If I get that same picture a week later,
mm-hmm.
does the iCloud know, because you said iCloud only keeps one thing. Does the iCloud know that, oh, wait a minute, I want to send it up there, I forgot, but the iCloud.
Yeah,
knows,
but here's
so
the
it only
thing.
keeps
No,
one.
here's the thing. And again, it has to do with photos. Photos that you take and stuff like that, duplicates, they don't stay. But if someone sends you a message today, it comes in with a certain code. The message gives it the text feature gives it a name. If they send it to you again, my mom does it a lot, 2 days later, that sending gets a different name. So as far as the computer is concerned, it's two separate files, even though you see the same photo. And thus, since it has two different file names, then your computer would save it twice. That's up to you to delete everything that comes in twice, because yeah, otherwise
Well,
the
your
computers.
computer, but the iCloud. it goes
The
up there.
computer iCloud, it doesn't matter. If it's on your computer, I'll now explain. Not all of you have all your stuff on the iCloud. We're gonna go find that out right now. It's not the iCloud or the computer that doesn't allow it. Nothing in the world of computer dumb, let's say, allows the same file name and the same space. It's just a thing about computers. They need to be distinguished. At most, if one thing is called cake, the other one will be called cake 1, cake 2, cake 3. But you can't have the same file called cake as long as it's in the same space. You can have it in different folders, different spaces. So the reason message photos, texted photos are different is because they come in with a different name. Thus, the computer doesn't know they're the same thing. The Photos app has a way to distinguish them, to then delete them and all that, but they'll teach you that in the Photos class. But yeah, so as long as it has a
Same thing with
different file name,
documents.
it's metadata that comes in with the photo. That's the metadata that the computer compares and goes, nope, it's a different one. It doesn't know that there's, Uncle Charlie in there twice. It just looks at the metadata and goes, well, this is not the same photo. So it saves it again. Okay. But that's a feature of texting. Yeah.
Which cloud do you prefer to store photos? iCloud to Apple or Gmail?
Well, clearly, if you're using the Apple system, Apple is much more convenient. If you're not inside the Apple system, then you have to begin to decide what you want to do. In the past, you could save photos for free. You could save photos for free up to any amount. Now Google is charging for photo space as well. So it's a comparison. Google also sends you smaller version. It's a different system. Up online, you have small versions of your photos. In the iCloud, you have the big versions of the photos. So again, photos class, guys. There's just so much there that it'll overtake. Right now, let's keep talking about the cloud, which has to do with everything you have, not just photos, including photos. Now, I'm gonna, I see a question there, Jackie.
Yeah, I'm stuck on your handout. I can't. Oh,
I was sharing that handout.
and everybody was stuck on it? I mean,
Yeah, I was just sharing that handout, which is
okay. I thought that maybe you'd,
what I drew over here,
yeah, okay, sorry.
sharing that.
Thank you.
Okay. I stopped sharing that right now, and I'm gonna go to specific sharing on the computer now. Well, I kind of I always start with the computer, but I'm discovering that
I have a computer. I have an iMac. Yeah.
5 of you guys don't have a computer, but you all have iPhones except for Miguel, but Miguel has a computer right here. That's Ventura, so it looks like the iPhone. So I'm going to first take you to your iPhones this time, which is, I'm switching it just because here in person, there's a lot of people without their own computers.
Sure.
Let's go to the iPhone. So I'm going to share my phone and I'm going to show you the iCloud on a phone. And then I'm going to show you the iCloud on your computer.
Do that. But can we do it tonight? Because I'm in the middle of my class.
Jackie, I'm going to mute you. Okay. So I need to see what I'm sharing over here. All right. So pick up your phones / iPads, basically your handheld devices. And let's go back into the settings again. So everyone do this at the same time as me. Click on your settings on your phone. In your case, Miguel, go to the settings on your computer. Now, and if you guys are parallel doing this with your computer, do it on your computer as well, especially if you're just waiting around, do it on your computer as well. But I can only demo one at a time. I can share only one at a time. Where do we find in the initial settings? You find a lot of things here about how to handle your phone stuff, right? But none of this is the iCloud. These are the different apps, the different settings and lighting and all of that. To get to the iCloud, you need to go into your, which remember, under your name, it says Apple ID, Cloud, Media and Purchases, right? That's the cloud. That's the iCloud. So you go into that top place where your name is, click on that. And down here, there's the iCloud, which in this case, the school doesn't pay for more. So I only have 5 gigabytes. I'm going to click on that 5 gigabytes cloud. Here I am. This is what's on my cloud. Now, I'll show you more. I just want to make sure everyone got here. Did you all get here? Those of you who are here in person? Did you get to the cloud on your computer?
Yes.
Or because you just don't have them hold it.
iCloud, you have on.
And
This is there. You went one too far. You went into photos. Now you're back into here. Yes.
I figured it out. Your yellow is really long.
Yeah, I'll explain that.
Photos, right?
Yeah. So I'll explain that in a minute.
Okay.
Hold on. This is my iCloud. I have in the school phone a very small amount. And down here, it's telling me what's using up my 5 gigs. And it says photos is yellow. Docs is orange. Messages is green. And then others is gray. So I am using most of my 5 gigabytes by using with photos. I teach the photo class. I do a lot of videos and I've maxed out what I can keep in my phone. So it's very full. Some of you guys, it says 5 gigabytes. That means you are not paying anything extra. If you are paying more, then it might say more. Let me just show you manage account storage. I'm going to go here under manage account storage. I'm going to click on that. And it's telling me your iCloud storage is full. I have maxed this one out. I actually should begin to ask school it's hard to demo a lot of stuff without more space. Maybe, but I don't think they want to start paying $1 a month, but there you go. $1 a month would give me a ton more space. And these are all the possible things. So I'm going to click on here on upgrade for 99 cents a month. I'm going to click on that. And it's going up here and it's basically telling me, oh, that's true. I did read. That's something that's changing. Up until for years, 50 gigabytes is $1 a month. So we went from 5 gigabytes to 50 gigabytes. So it's a ton of space. A lot of people, that's all they need for $1 a month, $12 a year. Then if you need a lot more, 200 gigabytes, you pay $3 a month. And I don't want to confuse things, but I pay that, but all of my family members uses that space, but it's different iCloud accounts. I just want to let you know that you could share that space with different iCloud accounts as long as they're family members, but I'm not going to go there right now. Meaning some people who have a ton of videos and photos have gone up to 200 gigabytes a month. And some people in this class are paying 2 terabytes. Actually,
I have that because I share it with my family, so.
some people have 2 terabytes a month.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so now what I did read, and it's not showing up here, but I read in all of the new, in the innovations this has been set, these prices and these spaces have been set for years. I have read that they're opening up more terabytes, higher levels. I guess there's enough people that have had this around for long enough that they're beginning to need more space. But it's really hard to fill up 2 terabytes, by the way, and it's $10 a month that, you know, by the time I read that the other day in the event, they announced more. I don't remember how much, but there's bigger spaces that you can pay for. So definitely for $12 a year, this is kind of a no-brainer to add the 50 gigabytes a month. And that for most people takes care of just about all their needs, unless you begin to do a ton of videos. Okay, because as I said, they take up a ton of space. Or if you have a lot of people sourcing themselves from the same space, in which case you can pay one of the bigger ones. And in the end, it's cheaper than you know, everyone having their own $3 a month. Then you have 4 people, it's cheaper to go to 2 terabytes. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's how you would do it. And if you're going to do that, notice that it says iCloud Plus. It's kind of a brand name. What's the difference between iCloud and iCloud Plus? It's that you're paying. You know, if you're paying, you've got iCloud Plus. There's a couple of other benefits and stuff to that, but mainly it's that. Okay. When you do have iCloud Plus, there's some privacy things that they do for you. They give you a possibility to hide your email, custom email. I mean, there's other stuff that right now I'm not going to get into. So there's not just more space, but there's, so if you want to click on here and learn more about it, but it's a lot of privacy features that they add to that if you start paying. Yes.
When you get to your limit
Mhm.
of what they've given you,
Mhm.
do they tell you you have to update, otherwise you're not gonna be able to put this in the cloud?
Yeah, basically right now, see how they're telling me my iCloud storage is full.
Oh, okay.
And so the
So-
other day, for the last time I taught this a few weeks ago, I tried to take another video and it stays in the phone, but it doesn't go to the
But I
cloud.
mean, do you have to go into settings and everything to find out, oh geez, I should be upgrading? Or does it give you like a message, you're full?
It depends on how your settings are set, whether it notifies you or not. So if you set yourself to be notified, then yes, some people love being notified. So other people are like, I hate my phone telling me stuff. And so they turn all the notifications off. So it depends on that. And again, it's all about the settings. So we're going to spend a lot of time here in the good old settings, deciding how to be notified or not about things, right? But yeah, whenever I go into my phone, when I did take another long video, it told me it wasn't going to be, my phone still has space. It still can fit in my phone. It just doesn't fit in my cloud. So it warns me.
Right.
Not only does it warn me, but it doesn't show up in my computer because it's living in my phone only because there's no space in my cloud for it. See what I mean? All right. So, so there we go. Some of you have your, how many of you are, Catherine, I see your hand is up, but give me a second. How many of you know that you're paying, or now you discovered that you're paying a monthly fee? If so, raise your hands, or you guys at home give me a yes. Okay, so 4, you're also paying more. Okay, so basically 5 people here who have iPhones are paying more. And then over here, 1, 2, 3, Rod and Barb, are you paying? Yes.
My daughter pays for my phone, and
Okay.
I don't have any extra, mine isn't hardly full.
Well, but does it say anything number bigger than 5 gigabytes there? Does it say 50 gigabytes or here on this part? What does it say? Because depends on whatever it says is how much your daughter is paying. But basically, if it says more than 5,
it says 69.3 gigabytes of 200.
Yeah, so 69 are used out of 200. So you are in the 200 yeah, you're in the 299 stat right there. If it says 200 gigabytes, that means that your daughter is paying 299, and you might be sharing the space with her or not. I don't know.
No, I'm not.
You're not. Okay, so
She
it's
just pays for my phone.
okay, that's great. But this is how you discover. Now you know
She pays for a bunch of phones, so she says, I'm just gonna put you on my account.
how to pay one more. Okay, so there you go. That's the space you have on your phone. Now, this spot, I'm gonna go down here. If you want to know how your space is being used, this is just about storage. How is your space being used on the cloud? We're in the right spot because this is manage account storage, right? So it's the space in there. How much space are you paying for? What is using it? And as you can see, I have this little cute graphic here that tells me mine is mostly photos. But if I go down here in my photos, it tells me I have 4.5 gigabytes of photos out of my 5 gigabytes of space. This is not space in my phone. This is my iCloud, which is very different. My phone can fit many more than 5 gigabytes. I can go check now how big this one is, but the cloud only is taking 5. My iCloud drive, we're going to spend some time talking about that. 250 messages and so on and so forth down to that there. So this is all that I have up on the cloud. So
I have more documents than I do photos on the cloud.
Yeah, so it's possible because I don't, let's go and we haven't talked about documents yet. My phone has this. A lot of you guys might have a different, I see some hands up, so give me a second. Notices that it says messages, right? And messages is those texts that you were talking about. If I want to check these out a little bit, if I go into messages and click on that, I discover that I can click on that and go to my messages. And these are the messages. This phone doesn't have any messages, and these are the ones that have a lot of space taken. So top to bottom, these are the ones that have text or stuff on them, and see how it's 72 megabytes versus 12 megabytes. And then the rest aren't even there. I'm going to back out of all of that. I don't necessarily want to do that myself, but see here it says, if you want to stop using messages in the iCloud and recover your cloud storage, you can disable it on all of your devices. You will have 30 days to download your messages before they disappear. So if you do this, then your messages will not be on the cloud anymore. They'll just be on your phone. That said, they won't be able to be used on your phone and on your computer at the same time. So everything here is set to be on the cloud, but you can turn those features off. You can say, no, I don't want that. But this is not the best place to handle them. This is just an example of where the storage is, but I'm going to show you now what the real place to handle all of these things on and off might be. This is just about the iCloud storage. So once again, we had gone into manage account storage to see that. It takes a little bit there because it has to calculate. So I'm going to back out of iCloud, just clicking over here on this arrow. And now see the title of this page is iCloud. So what's really in the iCloud and how do I handle it? Well, apps using iCloud, photos, cloud mail, password, keychain, and then it says show all. So when I click on show all, boom, this is everything that's on the cloud. Everything you see here is what's on the cloud from my phone. So back one more time. When I got into the cloud, it just shows me 4 first, and then you click on show all. Those of you who have older phones, let me know if something is very different from what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't know that at all. You really clarified some stuff.
Yeah. So this manage how apps and features on this phone sync with the iCloud. So remember, this has nothing to do with how your iPad or your computer connect to the iCloud. This is your phone, but this exact same setting you have on your computers, on your iPads, where you choose what goes to the cloud. Because remember, it's not that your phone that talks to your computer, it's everything talks to the cloud. So if now I go in here and I say, well, I don't want my, calendars, for example, to go to the cloud, I turn this slider off. Whatever's in my phone stays in my phone. But then I make an appointment. I go to the dentist, I make a new appointment for the dentist. It lives in my phone. And at home, my calendar won't have it. Does that make sense? So you might as well keep the things that are useful on. The only ones that you want to consider are the ones that are taking up a lot of space, like photos, for example, right? And should I do something different with my videos or my photos because I don't want to have to pay a lot more on the cloud, that kind of stuff. But the smaller things, like it makes almost no sense to turn them off. That said, be careful. Don't play around with these settings. Some of these are easy to turn on and off. It's just a simple on and off, and others cause huge disruptions. Because if I decide, nah, I don't want my photos on and off, and I see how it says on right now. So by the way, this is the place where you can decide, you can see whether your photos on your phone are going to the cloud. That doesn't mean that in your computer that you connected it, but if this says on, the photos that you take on your phone are going to the cloud. That means that probably you're paying a bit more than the basics, and just about everyone raised their hands. So that means that you probably all have that basic one. Now, hold on. If I were to, and this is the part that's dangerous, if I were to say, nah, I don't want to do that anymore, and I turn it off willy-nilly, be clear, the main place where all this lives is the cloud. So if you turn any of these off, what happens is that those things stay in the cloud and they're not anymore on your devices. So we're going to explain that a little bit better with documents and stuff like that. But because I haven't yet talked about where your documents go and all of that. But remember, the cloud is the home of all this stuff. You're all like, oh, it's on my phone, it's on my computer. Nope. Once the cloud is enabled, the cloud holds all your stuff, ready to disseminate it, broadcast it, so to say, to all your devices. So if you say, I don't want it, then those stuff stay in the cloud, and it's your device that doesn't have them anymore. Just keep that in mind. We'll see how that works. So just don't willy-nilly turn things on and off. There's a few that you can turn it off, and I happen to know which ones they are, but in general, if you make a decision to not have your contacts anymore, and I'm going to do that right now, I'm going to go ahead to calendars, for example, and I'm going to turn this off. It's very easy to turn off. It's just touching that. So very quickly it turns off, and it says, well, what would you like to do with the previously synced iCloud calendars on your phone? Don't do this, by the way. I'm just demoing it for you on a phone where this doesn't matter because it's a teaching phone. You make this decision based on what I'm teaching you right now. You'll say, well, sure, keep them on my phone or delete them from my phone. If I delete them from my phone, my calendars will appear empty. If I say keep them on my phone, everything I've had up to now stays on my phone, but from now on, they're disconnected from the ones on my other devices. Does that make sense? So if I say keep on my phone, you might be mistaken, be careful, into thinking that they're still working the same because you open up and you see the same appointments. But if you go make an appointment for lunch with your friend, it'll only be on your phone. It won't be on your iPad or on your computer, which for a lot of people is like, well, I don't need it on. I never look at my computer for appointments. Well, from that point going forward. And what's there is there, historical, right? It says, if you say keep on my phone, but from now on, you've disconnected this phone from the cloud. Your computer might still be sending it to the cloud, but the connection has been broken. So now they have different material. Okay. That would be equivalent to everything else. Since I don't want that to happen right now, I'm just going to hit cancel. I want to keep them connected. So be careful, but it's very quick to just touch one of these and off it goes. And then it doesn't disconnect. Some of you are like, oh, I don't know, what are these? I don't even use them. Home, for example, if I go and turn this home one off.
What is home?
Yeah, it's like nothing happened. Why? Well, because right now that app, nothing is happening with that app. So there's no information that is anywhere that matters. Home is an app that handles devices. If you at home have lights that you connect to this app, then you can, from, Paris, turn the lights on and off in your home. You can turn off the washer, the dishwasher, all the devices. You can check who's at your doorbell. Home is handling those devices at home that have the capacity to be connected. And I'm going to just say something. I've always been like, poof, cha. But we do have a light now at home that we can handle from, it's just a light bulb. You can buy it anywhere. that we can handle on and off. And it's kind of nice to know that if we're not home, we can turn the light off. But it all started because my son, who of course kids, had in his room, he set up some colored LED lights up in the top, right? And so he yells at his phone, turn off lights, make them blue, make them yellow, make them red, make them high, make them low. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. To this point that he's in college right now. And the other day he was showing me, he has got like 4 light bulbs that way. And he walks in and he just kind of yells at the different yells. I'm saying yells at the different, he gave him names. He's like, turn Scott up to 100%, make whatever he's filming names of directors, bring Ryan down, make it yellow. You know, it's like, whoa, it's just funny, but it's kind of fun. Anyway, but there's actually much more specific device. You would have to buy a device that you can make the laundry start working, right? But the device, my devices are all like 25 years old. Someday we'll get to that. That's what home is. But see, I turned it off and that's it. I just can't handle it. So I'll turn it on and nothing happened there. There wasn't a big deal. So some of them are a big deal, some are not. You need to be careful. Now, something like the wallet, some people use a lot, some people don't, but I personally am using it quite a bit now. You enter your credit cards into the wallet, right? And so you enter it into one of your devices. And for example, you can just photograph, scan, you open the wallet app, you scan your credit card. And if this is on, it goes to the cloud, it goes to your devices. So anywhere I go, if I need to pay, all I need to do is put my phone on the cash register and it pays for my credit card. Like I don't have to take out my credit card anymore. Anyway, things like that. So that's one of the examples of what the wallet does, but it only works because of that whole connection. Like I actually had them in my computer and now I can use them on my phone. Anyway,
But if
this,
somebody breaks into there, they can get all your credit cards.
yeah, someone breaks into my house or steals my wallet, they can get all my credit cards too, except for, and this is what I need to be clear. Systems get hacked. Pentagon gets hacked. Your bank gets hacked. But, and I'm just going to knock on wood. Most people individually don't get hacked as far as getting into your Apple ID. They might give you viruses. There's all these different things. But one thing that's true, and I'm not saying that the system is perfect, but, and I don't put everything that I have on my phone, right? Or on these devices, but unless you're someone who's famous, who's well known, who's ridiculously rich, you know, if someone that you are, there's a reason to target you, yeah, be careful because they're going to get in there and take all those photos you don't want anyone to see and all that kind of stuff. You've seen that. It appears all over. You're famous and anyway, way or form, you have to be much more careful. You have to have super security people dealing with all your devices. But other than that, no one's going to come in and go into, I'm going to go into Diana Musacchio's bank. If they do that, they'll go into the bank and hack a ton of different banks. Does that make sense what I'm going to say? So anyway, you have to be careful, but not so much. That said, you need to put locks on your phones. You need to have the phone either recognize you by your face or by a code, because if your phone has no code and you have registered your wallet on it, then even though you need to use a password to say yes, if you've said yes, if you have all the settings to go yes, they could get and use your credit card that way. So just never have any of these devices without a passcode or a pass lock. Okay. Anyway, so that's what this is. Now, let me show you. So what this is telling me is my contacts, all that stuff is going, but see what it is. It's my phones, my iCloud, my mail. I'm going to talk about that. Password, keychains, messages, health, contacts, calendars, Safari, stocks, home, fitness. Those are the things that are automatically going to the cloud. Now, how many of you use, for example, Quicken for your taxes? Do you see Quicken here? Or Excel for your spreadsheets? Do you see Excel here? So this is what I mean. There's a ton of stuff that's not automatically part of the cloud. So when we say everything gets backed up or not, you know, something that Marshall said at the beginning, well, I back up my stuff onto the automatic cloud backup isn't every single app that's on your computer or every single app that's on your phone. It's certain ones. And if you want more than that, you have to then do something else, and I'll explain. Up at the very top under iPhotos, you see the iCloud Drive. iCloud Drive, again, the names are confusing because the cloud is one place, the iCloud is another place, and the iCloud Drive is another place. It's an app. And I spend a lot of time talking about the iCloud Drive in Mac level 1 because that's where we do file management. And that's where documents go. So you know how Barbara said, oh, I have many more documents than photos? Well, she has all of her documents in there. So what are documents on a phone? Well, usually we don't have documents in a phone. Where we have documents usually is in our computer, right? So if you put your documents and your desktop stuff on the cloud, and I'm gonna show you that right now on the computer, then your Excel spreadsheets that are in your documents folder are also on the cloud. Thus, you can access them from your phone. Your Quicken taxes, et cetera, but you need to put those files on your computer in the folder that's going to the cloud. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm going to keep showing you now. So if you don't have the iCloud Drive on, or if you do have it on, but you don't have the desktop. So look, I'm going to click on iCloud Drive. And right now, this phone says yes. In this phone, I do have my iCloud Drive connected. So now I'm going to back out and I'm going to go show you my computer. So I'm going to say stop share to that.
It's Catherine. Before you move forward, can I just ask you one question? I'm getting a message. This is about putting an account on, where did it go? Sorry, my phone locked. Anyway, it's telling me, do I want to use your existing iCloud mail account on this iPhone?
Yeah. Can we wait on the mail and iCloud accounts?
Yeah. No, thank you.
Like a very specific, so just now ignore it or something like that. Especially because you're the one who said you have two different accounts. So I want to be clear first on which account is the one that you're using before I say yes willy-nilly, because then I might make a mess for you by saying yes or no. Okay. Remember how she has two accounts, and so I don't want to just give her a glib answer. I need to look into what's happening with you before you choose that. Now I'm going to send 90% of what I say works for everyone, and then there's everyone has a very specific, my case is this and that, and then I can help you handle your cases. But what I'm trying to say is everyone. So now I go to my computer and I'm going to share my entire desktop with you to show you two different things. Well, first of all, here I have my, close everything a little bit. You guys don't see it, but it's in my way. This is something that, as of next week, you guys are opening up your computers and doing this, okay? But right now, I want you to understand the scope of all of this before we can even move things around. And what I'm going to show you right now is something that we will be doing exhaustively the rest of this class and Mac level 1. Okay, so don't like, wait, show me how to do it. Let me just show you. This is something called the Finder. A Finder is where you find where all the stuff is in your computer, right? So I'm going to open the Finder window by clicking on this. And if you have your own computer, this is useful. If you have the computers at school, yours is going to be set up. I'm going to show you later how the school setup is. But if you have the computers because the schools are not connected to the cloud, the school computers are not connected to the cloud. So I'm showing you a device that is connected to my phone, which is how the last time I polled my classes, 90% of the people had them this way, but there's always one or two people who don't. So you have to check on this at home. This is homework for those of you who have a computer at home that you didn't bring here. If you don't have a computer at all, then you just watch and learn for when you buy it. So notice that here on the sidebar of this Finder, I have something that says Documents, Desktop, Documents and Desktop. And then over here, I have something that says downloads. By the way, this is something I need to clean up because I was doing this, long story, don't. So these documents and these desktop are in the iCloud. See over here, the little tiny word that says iCloud? So what does that mean? That in my documents folder, I have a ton of files, Excel files, financial files, stuff, recipes. As long as all of this is in my documents folder, that's really living in the cloud. That's a choice that you have to make. And as I said before, those choices you could turn on and off. People who have had computers forever this didn't exist before. So there's stuff you thought that was in your computer lived in your computer. Well, no, surprise, surprise. The stuff that's in your computer by default now is in the cloud. If you don't, like a new computer probably has the setting turned on. People who've had computers from before who buy a new computer, but their stuff gets kind of transferred to the new computer, it might grandfather in the choice to not have it turn on. So you might have bought a new computer, but the choice of not having your things in the cloud came from the other one. It conserved that choice. So some people have new computers, but they've had one for a while. When this didn't exist before, everyone's stuff that said that was in a computer was on a computer. But if you just purchased it and begin putting your stuff in your computer, then by default, you'll notice that everyone's stuff by default is connected. The setting, okay, and so here's the settings. If I go to the cloud, in my iCloud Drive, which is where these things are, it shows me that my desktop and document folders are turned on. Keep your desktop and document folders in sync with the cloud and access them from other devices and from iCloud.com. So by having this turned
How
on
did you bring that window up?
in my iCloud, so
Okay.
I'm in my cloud, I went to my settings, system settings. Here's my system service, my cloud. I go down here to my iCloud. So we're talking about the iCloud always. So I go to my iCloud, turn on my iCloud, and here it says iCloud Drive. That's the iCloud Drive that I said is a separate place. The iCloud Drive holds files. And for those of you thinking of buying an iPad, this is why now you can have your files on an iPad, because of the iCloud Drive that now exists. Because the iCloud Drive basically keeps documents and files. For those of you who just came here trying to figure out how to do the basics, please hold with me. This explanation is very kind of, it almost seems like esoteric, but the moment we start now creating files, creating folders, making things bigger, smaller, dragging, you'll know where things are going. You'll understand the why. So if this is turned on, all these things that we're going to be doing on your computer, I'm going to make a recipe for chocolate chips and I'm saving it into my documents folder. It's going to the cloud. Again, it's not in two places. You see it in your computer. But as long as your phone also has the iCloud turned on, I can open this phone up. I'm at my sister-in-law's and all these cookies are so good. Please give me the recipe. Sure. I open up my iCloud Drive on my phone and pick up my chocolate chip recipe cookies that I created at home on my computer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And if I buy an iPad Pro, I open it up and I use it on my iPad. So again, it's files. It's not just contacts and things like that, but it's any files that are on my computer, as long as I'm saving them in the desktop or on the documents folder. And let me just say that you should never save things on the desktop on a Mac. When we take the Mac level 1, you will hear me say that again and again and again. Yes, Carol is like blushing because she's heard this 20 times. And by the time I'm done, every time I teach the Mac level 1 class, say I have 30 students, there's 20 who do it, and then there's 10 who go, no, I'm not going to do it. And then slowly I convert them. And then every time they tend, I slowly convert them. And finally people have clean desktops and they know how to handle it. But some people really, I'm like, they like their full desktops full of stuff because that's where they see things. But I'm going to show you how to access these things instead of having them all over the desktop. But you'll learn. Oh, PCs are like, they're like icons everywhere. And I can tell you all the good and bad reasons, but in particular on the Mac, the computer needs your desktop space to function. And thus, if you put big things like photos and files and your computer starts getting sluggish, well, there you go. You have a lot of stuff on your desktop. That might be one of the reasons. But anyway, we'll get to that. What's that? The PC doesn't, it's different. It's a bit different on the PC. And I would still recommend, of course, to not have things there, to have them on the desktop.
For the same reason.
For this, for different, for I am not necessarily a very tidy person in real life. I'm regularly tidy, but on my computer, I'm very tidy. I always give this simile of imagine that you have a house, kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, living room. Imagine that, you know, I'm imagining a store like Costco where you can buy anything from butter to jackets to air conditioners or whatever, like everything, right? So I go to Costco and I fill my car with a bit of everything. And I come into my house, I walk in the doorway and I go, boom, boom, and I dump everything right there on the desktop, right? Ideally, you would take the butter to the kitchen, open the refrigerator, put it in the butter drops, the toothpaste to the bathroom, the shoes to the clothes, but it's fine. They're in your house. You close the door, there it is. But then when you need to look for, you know, the burger meat, you have to push over some things and, oh, here it is. You know, anyway, I'm being a little bit ridiculous, but that's what the desktop is. It's like, oh, it's all in one versus having things where they belong. And as long as you know how to navigate your house, and things are where they belong, it's just much easier. We'll get to that. That's Mac level 1 is our file management class, and you'll be converted. Trust me, you'll be converted. Right now, all I care about is that if this is turned on in your computer, that means that all these files that I own, all these things that I have in my computer, I have a ton of stuff in here, it's all on the cloud. Thus, I can pick up my phone and I can open up this file if I want to on my phone because I have that feature turned on. My downloads, though, anything I downloaded from the internet is living only on this computer because the downloads is not part of the iCloud drive. Does that make sense? So there's things that live in my computer, things that live in the cloud. We'll clarify this. We'll practice that. We'll do that. A lot of the times I do a lot of hands-on work and then people are really confused about where the stuff is. So each time I teach, I try a different tactic. Right now, I'm trying to get you guys to understand the ecosystem of Apple and devices. Okay. Now there's no need for you to open your Excel file on your smartwatch, but actually I did notice that you do have a chance. You do have the option to have the iCloud drive on your smartwatch too. So could you with a little pen choose it and look and go, oh yeah, I made, you know, $20 last month, maybe. But other than that, it doesn't make sense. I see that there's a couple of hands open. Let me first show you that. No, I can't show you that option. Here's what I can show you. My other computer, this system is not on the cloud, but not only that, but this system is not, let me just show you really quickly the Finder window on this computer, right? Where in this case, my desktop and my documents are not in the cloud. See how it doesn't say iCloud and the iCloud is not even there. We're going to go through what the choices are, why, when to do it. And right now this computer is actually even almost empty. Each time I open it up, they clean up stuff and they leave very few things here. I have some stuff in the downloads, but every time I put in things here by the new semester, it's all gone. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that application software, everything that belongs on this computer is in this computer. Also the downloads, but also the desktop and the documents of this computer live right here. For better, for worse, if my computer dies, what happens to all my recipes and Excel files and the book I'm writing? It also dies.
You're up a creek.
Yeah, exactly. Unless
It's backed up somewhere.
I have that time machine backup. So that's a plan B for this computer that's not going to the cloud. I would have to have a time machine backup. And then the Mudflow comes through and takes both. So then there's also a thing called an internet, cloud backup other than the cloud, where you can have an online backup. So things aren't considered backed up on the computer unless they're in 3 spaces: the original device that writes them, a backup, a physical backup, and an internet backed up. That way, you know, if there's a solar flare and the internet dies, that you still have your physical one. If someone steals everything from your house and takes your computer, well, you still have the physical one. If someone actually, the mud flows and takes everything, then you have the one on the internet. You know what I mean? It's like a backup system. That's how we did it for 20 years. But then all of these other options of the iCloud and the cloud and everything came up. And so on this other computer, let me stop my share. It's set up to use the cloud for my desktops and documents. So if I lose this computer, the one that I showed you that was connected, if I lose this computer, the laptop, then everything that's in my downloads would disappear, right? Let me share, this is this computer, the laptop that's in Ventura. And so anything that's in my downloads, I would lose. I would lose the applications that I downloaded. I would lose other stuff that I chose not to put on the cloud, because you could put stuff in there that would die with this computer, unless I also have a time machine on this one. So just because your stuff is in the cloud doesn't mean you shouldn't have a backup, a physical backup. We're going to talk more about backups, because remember, iCloud is not a backup. Why? The last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to take questions from everyone. Because if on the cloud, I open this document, let me go to one of these. I open this document. I look at this family PowerPoint and I go, I don't want it anymore. If I delete this one and I move it to the trash here, pick up my phone, it's gone from here. I pick up my iPad, it's gone from here, which is why it's not a backup. A backup is supposed to save you from stuff that you by mistake throw away. That's why you still have it in a different place. But this system is not a backup. That thing is gone from here. It's gone from everywhere. If I have my photos on that system and I delete a photo from my phone, it'll delete from my computer, it'll delete from my iPad. Backups are there to save you from stuff you delete. Thus, the iCloud is a way to disseminate the same file across all your devices, but it is not a backup. So if you want to not lose anything here, you should also do a physical backup to this. Again, that's coming in Mac 1 or 2, but they are different things. I'm going to undo that because I do want to keep that file here. But so that's the cloud. It can hold almost anything you want as long as you have enough storage space there. My computer can hold a lot more stuff than that. If you pay the $9.99 a month, which is 2 terabytes, I promise you, I doubt anyone in this place has more than 1 terabyte of space on their computer. So that's more than enough for just about anything that you would have on your computer. But you might have more than 200 gigabytes on your computer. Thus, the $2.99 might not hold everything you have on your computer. So that's where you need to decide what do you really need up on the cloud and what you don't and stuff like that. All right. The important thing I need for those of you at home are already looking at your computers. Those of you who are here, who have a computer at home, which I believe is just Carol at this point, because the rest of you guys don't have it and you have yours here. So Carol, what you need to do is open up your computer at home and I kind of, with your phone, maybe, I need you to take photos of your system preferences, which yours will look like this other computer, and go into your cloud. And in the handouts, I have explanations of how to do that. Let me stop my share. In the handouts, I'll show you where you need to take photos of that to bring here so that I can see what's happening on your computer, so that I can tell you how to, no, that's okay. I know. You know how many years I've been teaching here? Nothing makes me scream. No, a couple of times when I know people are having some stuff that is really messing up their computers and it has to do with complicated accounts or whatever, but messiness or tidiness, that's my thing. I can help you with that.
See what pictures of what?
Just your, I want you to open a Finder window to see what this says. I am 99% sure that your stuff is not on the cloud because I believe that before the pandemic, we were basically, most people did not have their things on the cloud. And you haven't been in a class since then. That doesn't mean that you didn't do it. But I want you to take a picture of this Finder window. And you open that by going to this little, like, you know, smiley face icon there, open that up and then just take a picture of this. And then the second thing I need you to do is to open up your system preferences, which will look like this. And then click here on your name, that'll be here, right? You'll open up on that and you'll get to a window that'll look very similar to, and I have to get the text to see if they can set up my account in here. But right now I don't have it set up. You will end up in a window that is, once you click on that, you will end up on something very similar to this, right? It'll tell you, you'll have a little bar, it'll be on the bottom instead of on the top. You'll have a bar telling you where all your stuff is and how much space you have and all of that. It's like this one, but it's backwards. Like you have the apps on top and you have that little thing on the top. And so let me show you on the handouts. And then after that, I'll go, but on the handouts, let me share the handouts. I have this whole thing described of what it would look like. So if you go over here, screenshot of the iCloud that you'll open up. That's a tiny one. Do I have a bigger? I wish I don't have my pad here to make it bigger. Anyway, so for you guys, for anyone who has an older version, it looks like this, where it shows iCloud Drive, see the same things. And then instead of, in the past, instead of these sliders that are green or gray, they had check marks, right? So if it's checked, it means it's on. If it's unchecked, it means it's off. And then down here, you'll see that little thing that shows you I have, you know, this much photos, this much is that much. So it's underneath, see? And you'll, so it's a little bit different of where it'll be, but that's all. That's how it'll look. Okay. I didn't know that I have two of the same screenshots. That's interesting. Maybe this one's a bit bigger. This is it. This is the one that's a bit bigger. This is how it'll look for you. And it'll have, this is your account, this is your cloud, and then it'll show you whether your cloud drive is turned on or not. If this is on, then that means that your desktop and documents are on the photo. So this one, it's all on. And here's the storage example. It's just upside down, but it's the same information in a different mode. Okay. So I need to see that turned on for you to see if it is on or off. All right. There we go. Let me stop that share. Now, Mary's been patiently having her hand up for quite a while. And
no worry, thank you. I was just going to ask you about the iCloud Drive. I have it for some reason off because why? You know, my phone rings and then my computer and my iPad. So the three of them. So that's why I thought maybe if I not sync them, but I don't know if this is true or not.
Oh, hold on. The iCloud Drive is what you have off.
Yes, but then I turn it on according to you, what you just said. You're supposed to have it on.
No, you're not supposed to. I'm giving you the options. You can choose to or not. On one of my, I have two different accounts. One of my accounts I have them on, and then another one I don't, because I have business and teaching versus personal. So it's a choice, okay? But you know, I'm telling you the advantages and the disadvantages. The advantages are that if you lose your computer, it's all up there. You just buy another computer. It's like day one, right? That's the advantage. The disadvantage is you need to pay more per month, the more stuff you put in your computer, because you start filling up your storage. So that, you know, that's one of the pros and cons of it. My computer can hold much more stuff than my iCloud. Thus, if I put everything on it, I would end up not having space in my iCloud. Although now, as I said, they're adding space to it. So that has nothing to do with what you said about your phone ringing.
Okay, okay.
A whole different choice. You say that when your phone rings, your computer rings. Is that what you're saying?
Ring, the three of them driving crazy.
And your iPad. Yeah. So you have the phones connected, which you can. Did you know that you could be at your phone and at your computer working and the phone rings and you just kind of click a button and say what, and you talk to your computer and it's a phone call. Yes, you can do that. And that is not a default set though. That is something you have to have connected. That is not a default setting. You have to enter your phone number into your computer and tell it to make it work on your iPad and on your phone. And your iPad, you have to be paying for a phone connection too. So that's a choice you make. I don't have an iPad that I pay an extra line for or an extra connection.
I don't have an extra line for it whatsoever.
What's that?
I don't pay any extra for the iPad.
Extra line, but an extra, but it has that it can pick up phones, calls. It can do it through the Apple system, but not as another AT&T line. Anyway, there's people who can make phone calls and stuff like that with another AT&T line on their iPads. But yes, you can turn on this, like it's through the FaceTime process that you can pick up. But you must have turned that on because that is not default, you guys. Your phone doesn't normally do that, right? Does anyone else have that thing where that when
Excuse me,
hold on. There's other people in front of you, Barb. But does anyone else have that thing where they can answer the phone on their computers? You have it that way? Yeah, it's been available for a long time. You do too, Jackie? Yeah. But you have to turn that feature on. If you don't want it, Mary, you turn it off. But it's not related to your files. One thing that I want you to get is each one of these things can be handled individually. You can choose to have your messages or not. You can have your phone or not. You can choose to have your files or not by turning these sliders on and off. Okay. The default settings do not have your phone connected. The default settings do have your files connected now if you buy a computer now. Okay. But you can turn, if you don't want your phone to ring everywhere, you could turn that off. I'm not going to show you how to do that today, but another time when you share your screen, I can show you where to do that. Yes, Catherine.
Okay, I've got my Q questions. I'm writing them down, but basically I'll just hit this one. Is there a way to do a backup from what's on your iCloud drive? Because I have been where I have deleted stuff that I needed and it's gone. So is there a way to back up the iCloud onto a hard drive? And is that class 2 or whatever?
No, in class in Mac level 1 and 2, we talk file management, and yeah, that's that time machine that I'm talking to you. And yes, you can back up everything so that it doesn't get deleted, and that's the time machine.
And you'll thank you, ma'am.
By the way, when I keep saying Mac level 1, Mac level 2, you should all be signing up if you haven't yet to Mac level 1 and level 2, because basically the classes continue. There are 3 different courses, but Tuesday, Thursday, you come here. The next Tuesday, Mac level 1 starts 3 weeks. And then when that one finishes, the next Tuesday is Mac level 2 and it starts, but you need to be registered in each one to continue being able to come. So if you have questions about that, I can tell you what the numbers are. I don't know, maybe you're all signed up or not, but if you're not, then that's how it works. Because as I said, I try to do different portions. Now, other than those whole cloud stuff, we're going to start doing some basic manipulation of the computer itself, how to work with the Mac in the next more of the intro to the Mac. And then we're going to deal much more with how to handle files in Mac level 1 and how to handle applications in Mac level 2. That's kind of a gross distribution of where I teach different things. All right. You said you had another question, Catherine, or was that the main one? Your sound is off already.
I'm sorry. My other question was, do all photos from iCloud and Cox, I get shared, are the photos, I don't know. Okay, so I have an iCloud account and I have some photos on that account. And I think this is specific to me because I'm in Crazy Town. So I will just deal with this separately with you because I'm straddling hemispheres. So right in the left brain or not.
Whenever I say I'll deal with you things separately, I'm trying to leave the last 10 minutes of class, which by the way, Miguel, I'm sorry the other day that I went past the time. I was so jet lagged. I didn't even know you had to go and I kept talking and then I went, oh, it's past the time. I'm going to do my best to close at 12:15. But yes, there's things that address everyone's needs. And then there's specific things that someone has a different issue, but it's not like I can stay here till, 3 p.m. So I try
And
to
at
have the
midnight.
last 10 minutes or so for personal, like, this is happening to me. This is happening to you. Sometimes there's a need for a bit more than that, and that's fine. And I'm always happy to stay a bit longer, by the way, to help out. But and I do believe that part of what's happening to you is your different accounts that you're having, questions with. So I do seem to need some specific time to understand that before I can keep answering, because I'm not sure.
That's right.
So maybe in a little bit, you can share your screen with one of them, show me that setup, share your screen, show that setup, and then I can begin to have more specific answers to your questions about where things are. I'm concerned when you say, I have some photos in one iCloud account or the other. I want you guys to get that we don't really put things in the iCloud account or not. You just have photos that you took on your phone and those went to the cloud or not independently. And if you have your...
But I move files and edit files and put them into to my photos on my iCloud. So I'm not actually taking pictures through that, but I have a joint aired.
So on at least one of your accounts, you do not have your iCloud Drive synced to your computer, because that's the only way to do that. If you have if in this computer, which is not connected, the documents and desktop folder in this computer is not turned on to sync to the cloud, then the iCloud Drive exists as its own place, kind of like a Dropbox. I can just throw things in there to put there as an extra storage space on its own, as if it were a separate room that I own that's not connected to my house. I can put stuff up there, but it's not stuff that will work in or out of my computer. I don't want to confuse a thing anymore, more than necessary, because very few people have it set up this way. But that's separate. That's a different situation. You're using it as if it were a separate drive than what's in your computer and your desktop. And you can, anyway, but it's not synced. The stuff that's in here is completely independent from what's up in the cloud. In that situation, let me show you guys one last thing, and then the class will be over for today, and then we'll start more hands-on stuff. But what I'm about to do is hands-on for everyone who thinks they remember their iCloud Apple ID password. Okay, so I want everyone to open Safari, Chrome, whatever internet browser you want, because as opposed to all of these spaces, some of you have desktops and laptops, some of you don't have iPads, some of you don't. There is a way to access that space in the cloud and find out what is in the cloud. And you do that through the internet. And that's what we're going to do right now, so that you can be very clear about what stuff or not you have on the cloud. So I'm going to share and do it on this screen. Okay, so I'm going to open up Safari because, it's a Safari class, so I'm using Safari. It's a Mac class, I'm using Safari. You can use whatever browser you're more comfortable using. And so everyone here, open up your computers. Guys, I'm not seeing anyone turning to their computers yet. Computer in front of you, everyone. Open up a browser.
Another window.
And if need be, open a new window. Yep. And then let's go to iCloud.com. iCloud.com. And I'm going to help people here. Everyone at home, please do it as well. And let's open a new tab. There's a little plus sign. And
City base.
iCloud.com. And by the way, if it's a Safari, you already have a quick link to it. But in case you later do it not on Safari, that's how you write it, iCloud.com. All right, and this is taking its time because I should have warned you ahead of time to re-sign it. But you're in iCloud.com. Okay, so how do we get into this iCloud.com? Well, we go to this sign in. Those of you who are still trying to sign into your pipeline, just watch for a second. We sign in. And what do you need to put in there is your Apple ID. Now, since I'm on the same computer that has it, it's asking me, do you want to sign into this one? It knows it. But you guys are gonna have to write your Apple ID when you get to iCloud.com. I think you need to retype your password if it hasn't gone there yet. Try it again. Let's delete all that. It's been really, yeah, there it is. Okay, so go to-
Oh, gosh, how many dots are there?
All right, so then, yeah, what Vince is doing here is what's gonna happen. It's gonna ask you, it's gonna send a code to your phone. You're gonna, it's a two-factor authentication. Then it says trust this browser, say trust. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna say continue with password.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, there's 11 dots there. And my,
Now it's letting me in iCloud.com.
I have no idea what the password is.
And then sign in. And I've already shown you what your Apple ID is.
Yeah.
It's the one that,
4, 5, 6,
and
7, 8,
That's your
9,
password.
11.
it might
So
be,
the password was 11.
but if you don't, then that's what you need to do to find out. So here I am. Yeah, trust the browser. Remember, no one can get into this computer unless they know your pipeline. Like when you leave and you sign out, the next person who sits there needs to know your pipeline username and password to get in here. So this is private, as private as you keep your password for your pipeline ID.
That's 6.
Okay?
And I'll start, maybe it's Star Tail, huh?
On at home, people here are still working on it. How about people back at home? Is everyone getting in?
Oh,
I'm trying to figure out the password.
if you don't remember the
My
password.
password is incorrect.
I know, that's the problem, because you guys, here I'm telling you that if a mud flow comes and takes away all your devices, and I keep saying that because, you know, as opposed to a hurricane or a tornado, which now we ended up having both in the last few
Okay.
years, but mud flows have actually happened. The only way to get to all of this is by going to iCloud.com and knowing your Apple ID and password. So these are things you need to know. And this is the test whether you need to go and do some recovery of your passwords and get some help. Because if you can't get to this, most of the times you're accustomed, you open up your phone, your computer already knows it. They know your passwords. But if you're in a situation where, you know, I was just in Argentina with my mom and I had to get a file, I just went on her computer at iCloud.com and then I picked up a file from there that I had left on my computer here. So that's something that's asking you for a code that's coming in on your phone now. So check your messages. Oh, here it is. Okay, allow.
I've been sent to my, enter the code of 6.
What browser?
This one says that it's your Apple ID or your password. Okay, so you do know that that's your Apple ID, you checked it on your phone? No. Your system preps right there.
Oh, there we go. 7.
Is computermac.com. Yes, so that is correct. That is your Apple ID. So now the question is, what's your password? Yeah. That's fine. Good. The password to your Apple ID, which is, yes, a lot of people don't know it.
Well, I
Okay, I'm there.
I changed it. Oh, now I should find a way to unchange it.
Usually they don't let you go back to a password that you've used before, then you choose a new one, it's hard to unchange it, but do you know that one that you changed it to?
No.
Did you write it down somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay, so then go home, go to iCloud.com.
Yeah.
I mean, on your phone, you're in, it knows it.
Yeah.
But you need to know it.
Oh
So
dear, how do I go back?
find that piece of paper where you wrote it and type it in and see if you get in. If so, that's good. If you don't like the password, you can change it again.
Oh,
But right now, that one that you changed it to is your password. And if you don't have it, well, there's, the thing is that at some point, passwords that are old became insecure. So if you have a very old password and they talk to you, they make you put in a safer password. Are you, is everyone in? Is everyone here other than Carol who has this issue is in?
Very, very cool. I'm in.
You guys are all in? Everyone's in. Okay, so this is where we all just went is there. Okay, and if on your phone, you put in a phone number and you don't have it connected, then up here, you don't have that phone number. But if you have it connected, then you can go over here and
I'm
say-
not seeing what you're, are you showing it?
Yeah, so this is mine. So there's my contacts. And I can go at, this is what I did actually. I didn't need a file, but I was at home and I needed a contact for someone who was here in Santa Barbara. And I went to my cloud and there it is. These are the same contacts of what I have on my phone. Over there, I wasn't using my iPhone. I was using an old
Cool.
Android and I didn't have my contacts in there. So I went to iCloud.com. I can be anywhere and they stole my phone and I can go to iCloud.com as long as I know my Apple ID and password. That's the things that you need to remember. You can be in Bangladesh and someone steals your phone and you go to you find a computer at a friend's house and you go to apple.com and there's all your contact numbers. Okay. So again, the password to your Apple ID should be kept pretty private, right? Because it accesses everything as much as your phone should have a password because it accesses everything. But as long as you keep things private, this is really powerful, right? To have it. So even if you don't have a computer or if you don't have a phone, like you guys who don't have computers, you see that what's up there is what's on your phone. The day you buy a computer, as long as you put the same Apple ID and have all the connections by default, all of that will flow into your computer and you'll have the same things on it. You'll have to choose whether you want to put your files that are on your computer up there and your photos, because those are space. But the rest of the stuff that you see, this is it. This is the kind of stuff that comes in. Now, mail content. We're going to talk about mail later. Some of you guys have the mail through Apple ID and some don't. We'll talk about that when we talk about mail. But contacts, calendar, photos, mail, iCloud Drive. If I go into iCloud Drive and I double click.
Raise your hand.
Computer, sorry, this is the computer I'm using. If I double click my iCloud Drive, there it is. Those are all the files that are in my actual computer that's right here. There's my desktop and documents. So I go to my I browse, here's my desktop and here's my documents. And here's all the files that I was showing you before, my Excel, Adobe, horticulture, loose picture. This is what I just showed you that I had here on my computer. Right here, this is my computer. And if I go to my documents, Adobe class files, client work, Excel, financial, horticulture, this I'm seeing on my computer. This I'm seeing those same files in my, on the internet.
Oh, wow. I can bring up my bills.
Yeah, you were excited about that. Actually, you know why, Barbara? Because I remember that you go and spend a lot of time with your daughter and you were concerned about not accessing your files. And so now you see that as
Oh, this is as awesome. All I have to do is use iCloud and I can, yes, very cool.
And if you change something in here, say you're writing a novel, I always go to the example of a novel because it's something that's continuous. People take a long time to write them. So you're at home and you're on chapter 3, then you go visit your daughter and you write chapter 4 and 5. You come back at home and you keep on 6 and 7 and you never had to move your files from anywhere because that's where they were, right? They were always been on the
Yeah.
cloud.
Now, Diane, while we're on that subject, is there like a diary that would be like a calendar that you can write something every day in?
Yes or no, there's lots of apps that you can do that in. I just wanted to point out that one of the best apps on the phone that I've used like ridiculously amount is the Notes app. If any of you guys who have a phone haven't used the Notes app, you don't know what you're missing. If you're any of the people who always had to keep little notes everywhere or post.
Oh yeah, constantly. I've got a bunch of folders.
Yeah, someone recommends a book and you have to write it down. Someone tells you the name of that tree that you were hoping to plant or whatever. I have thousands of notes. I'm not joking, on my real phone. Because, you know, and now whenever I look for something, it's always there. Like I don't need to worry. So if you tell me something that I need to remember, sure, give me a sec. I'll write it in notes. So you could have, in a way, a note per day or something like that. But all the files that I bring to class, the links and stuff, as you can see, I put my links in here at home when I'm working. I put my links in my phone and then I come in here and I pick them up from here in my SPCC folder. I come up here and I open them up and I hand you guys the links. I put them on my notes, which is going to be also on my phone and also on my, on my pipeline account. Anyway, so it's just I don't need to bring a little flash drive with me around anymore because I just have it all within this system. And it's, once again, I have gone way over time and I blame you guys for not telling me. I know that you guys want to learn and learn and learn. And I want to teach and teach and teach, but yes, you have a life and I have a life. So please don't let me, at least warn me that, you don't need to warn me. You don't need to warn me. I have all my alarms set up that I haven't turned on. I have my alarms that tell me.
Where's your Ace series?
No.
An alarm for shutdown class.
I have them all on and I have them for 15 minutes before it warns me. And I look at my alarm and it says 15 minutes till end. And then I go, okay, time to ask me your questions. And then it says, okay, time again. I just haven't turned them on. And this is what happens when I don't turn them on. So the next thing I'm going to do is turn all my alarms. So if you need to leave, please leave. I'm happy to answer a couple more questions, but write your questions down and let's start next Tuesday. Yes, that's an important one. How do you get out of this?
Can I put a second calendar in my computer that I can access from iCloud that I could use as a diary?
Yes, I'll show you that when we talk about the calendars, but right now.
Okay, thank you.
Left this open. And so watch over here on the corner up here. And this is so small. Let me make this big for everyone who's here to see what I'm sharing. There we go. So go to this little corner here and sign out. Okay, that's your account. You handle your account from there. iCloud settings, you can do a lot of changes in your iCloud from here too. Like I can go to iCloud here, I can change decisions, and now I'm going to instead sign out. I can pay for more stuff over here. Once you sign out, you're done. So again, your stuff is as safe as your passwords, as safe as you remembering your account and names and passwords. Okay, sign out, and then
question. I'm trying to sign out and it went to trust and sign out or cancel.
Hold on, Barbara.
Okay.
People here need to know how to sign out of their computers. I'll stay with you and answer your questions.
Thank you.
People who need to leave from here, now you can go up to this Apple icon and say log out of, and it'll be your pipeline account. And then your computer now is kind of dead, not dead, but now you're done and you're safe. Okay. All right. So, any other questions that you have that I can't answer quickly, write them down.
Wait,
Oh,
Barbara, because Vince had raised his hands earlier, so yes,
That's okay.
Well, it's not really about, I could ask it the apples.
if it's a quick one, if it's
Well,
not a quick one, I'll tell you, ask the Apple
My
Store.
phone has not been, my,
Me ask for verification code.
Oh.
when it's not been updating regularly. And so
Mm.
like when I was here, I was trying to do an update, but it wouldn't even take it. So.
You need to bring your power cable and
Right.
charge into power, and it needs to be left alone and closed and plugged to power for it to do the updates.
Okay, so you have to have juice coming into it.
Power for updating, yeah.
Yes.
So if you've not had it in power overnight, connected to the internet and connected to power, and then it updates.
Also, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Barbara,
I made my decision. I'm gonna want a second authorization code to go into iCloud, because I had somebody get a hold of my checking account one time.
no, you need the two-factor authentication
Yeah.
is the thing we need now. Yeah, so you need. to
Thank
do-
you.
You're
You have a
welcome.
nice weekend.
You too.
You're
Bye.
a great teacher.
See you guys next class.
Oh, I'll see you Friday. Is that this Friday? Yeah, that's tomorrow. Oh,